The sport is sponsored by Allstate. Padres currently down in the seventh inning, 3-2 at the hands of the Philadelphia Phillies as they look to salvage the series. Manny Machado did hit a 2-run shot off of Zach Wheeler in the seventh. The NBA Finals, Game 1, Jalen Brunson puts on a show, drops 30 points as the Knicks take down the Spurs 105-95. Game 2 will be tomorrow night at 5:30 again in San Antonio. And Vegas will be looking to go up 2-0 on the road tonight in the Stanley Cup final. Game 2 at 5 o'clock. Vegas is a plus 136 dog to do so against the Carolina Hurricanes. Wish you could save on home insurance. With Allstate, you could easily save and get quality protection, yet it's a win-win. So what are you waiting for? Check Allstate first for a quote today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Yeah, let's get it going on a Thursday. What's happening, everybody? Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2 o'clock today. Sammy will keep the party rolling after that from 2 to 3. Schaefer and Sliwa will be your drive home from 3 to 6. We got giveaways on the station today on every show. We got a pair of tickets to go see Colombia versus Jordan at Snapdragon Stadium. That's coming up this Sunday, June 7th at 4 o'clock. Today is your last day to win these tickets. You just got to listen for the sounder. You can see these national teams play as they prepare for the 2026 FIFA World Cup. Buy tickets now at sandiegofc.com/countdown to 26. You'll hear the sounder. Be call number 7. You win the tickets. Pretty simple there. We also have a 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair that will be given out on the show today. Jonas Knox of Fox Sports Radio fame will be joining us at 12:30. Coach Kentera at 1:30. Sammy Long is here. What's up, Sammy?
What's up? And yes, I will be accepting apologies from the text line as well as YouTube on the fact that everyone told me I was hating on the San Antonio Spurs. I told you that man, Jalen Brunson, is a bad man. End up winning by 10. Again, I will be accepting apologies. We'll be taking those throughout the show. 70470. Start your message with team.
Sure. Apologies to the guy who still lost long shots, but coming in today going crazy.
But I hit the pick that mattered.
Yeah, except you didn't because the Yankees game did not go over or went under.
Did I know that Garrett Cole wasn't going to put on a masterclass?
So we still all lost long shots. It really doesn't matter when it comes to it. But you did call the Knicks winning in game 1. Congratulations to Sammy there. And what a game it was. Man, game 1 last night between the Knicks and the Spurs. Look, I thought the series may have been over last night in the first 10 minutes of the game when Jalen Brunson goes back to the locker room with an apparent knee injury. I was like, oh, this is Halliburton all over again. Oh, this is going to ruin the series for everybody. And the way he came back, the way he spurred, no pun intended, the comeback for the New York Knicks was kind of incredible. I had a great time watching that basketball game last night. And the way Jalen Brunson was playing is should be story number 1, but Victor Wembanyama's turnovers should be story number 2. He had 6 of them last night. He was careless with the basketball, man. As much as Jalen Brunson coming back and making some of the shots he made, which were impossible looking, was the story of last night's game. Victor Wembanyama's carelessness, and I don't know if Karl Anthony Towns and the Knicks have figured something out against him. I'm very curious to see what the game 2 adjustments are for Wemby. But man, he looked careless at times with the basketball, and that's just inexcusable. Game 1 of the NBA Finals when you're the favorite to go out there with the better team at home with the better roster with maybe the best player in the world right now in Victor Wembanyama. And to almost look careless at times with the basketball is inexcusable. And if I'm a Spurs fan, I'm ridiculously frustrated today.
It was. I mean, it was the Spurs down the stretch were careless and they showed their youth. That was kind of something I thought a lot of people thought heading into the Oklahoma City series was the fact that OKC had been here before and that the Spurs hadn't. Was that going to play into the series at all? And I think it did in some ways, and that Stephon Castle had 20 turnovers for the first 2 games against the Thunder. But to the Spurs' credit, the talent, they buckled down in games 6 and 7 and won those. Last night to be up 14. The Knicks return the ball over in the first half. The Spurs have all the momentum going into halftime. You know, the Knicks come out, hit the 3 from Brunson immediately and look good, but the crowd's going nuts and the Spurs come back. For the Knicks looked like the more mature team last night, only having 1 turnover in the third quarter, and that came with 45 seconds left to go in the third. They just kind of kept chipping away, and you kind of got the vibe watching that third quarter that the Spurs were like, yeah, we're going to roll over these boys. And like even watching it was a 14-point game. You're like, this game still feels in doubt. And Jalen Brunson gets all the headlines today, but Karl-Anthony Towns had a couple of huge offensive rebounds in that third and fourth quarter. And to your point about Wemby, I mean, we mentioned it yesterday. Was Cat going to make him work defensively? Wemby was 2 of 11 when shooting when Cat was the primary defender. So Karl-Anthony Towns won round 1 last night. And I think it's going to be a great series. I think it's going to be a long series. But last night was like the Knicks are here to stay, and that whole fluke run that a lot of people were saying through the Eastern Conference, they have been the best team in basketball over the last 2 months, and they showed it last night.
Wemby said it after the game. He was like, yeah, there's going to be adjustments made, and I'll change the way I'm playing for this exact style of defense that he's playing against. But, man, that's a rough look for the Spurs last night because the Knicks didn't necessarily play perfect. The Spurs played pretty bad last night, I would say. And so if you're the Knicks, you're looking at it one way, like, oh, well, game 2, they're going to come out, the Spurs are, with their hair on fire and probably clean a lot of stuff up. The Spurs also missed a lot of shots, man. So you may have gotten the Spurs with a C+ performance at best.
Right.
And the Knicks probably had an A- performance last night. Like, I'm kind of comfortable seeing it that way, which to Sammy's point probably makes for a long series, which we're all here for. Now, fan interactions last night were a little crazy.
Okay,
We had 2 separate ones that I remember seeing. Maybe there was more, but the Victor Wembanyama selfie attempt. Have we seen the picture as it surfaced? Did he get the selfie?
I'm curious. My mom, I was watching with her. She thought he was like on live because you could see he was like talking into the camera.
Maybe. Yeah, he runs out of the court, gets dealt with by security immediately.
What
and
a
then
clown.
The one that's under investigation today actually was in the last 20 or 30 seconds of the game. I think OG Anunoby was at the line. And Jalen Brunson was going back and forth with some fans who were sitting courtside.
And then Brunson walked over after the game before the interview, and like Brunson looked pissed.
Yeah. I'm not messing with Jalen Brunson,
no.
First and foremost. And he looked furious. So I don't know what was being said, but I did see something where the NBA is investigating that today. And now the gentleman who is doing the selfie stick or trying to get the picture with Victor Wembanyama or on live has already gotten a lifetime ban from the NBA.
Good.
And I think 2 people who were with him also got lifetime bans. I wonder what's going to happen with the Jalen Brunson thing. Because that looked like it was something like, remember Westbrook had that interaction with fans and it was horrible, despicable. You should be kicked out of games. But I wonder if something similar was happening here and Brunson has a legitimate case to go back and say, look, get these effers out of here forever.
Well, and to the physicality of the game, like early in that first and second quarter, and Brunson showed a lot of emotion. Brunson usually doesn't show a lot of emotion. When the play he got hurt on where Luke Cornett stepped on his ankle,
right.
He got up and screamed at Scott Foster, like, you're not giving me this call. This is crazy. And I give the Knicks a lot of credit for matching that physicality in the second half because they looked pissed. You pointed it out. He had 2 possible injuries where Cornett stepped on him. And then when he came down wrong on his left leg and kind of buckled down. And then to the fans, it is such a tricky thing because we saw this with Luka a couple years ago when the Lakers played OKC. And remember, he got thrown out of the game because some fans had something to him. It's like, this is NBA Finals. We got some great basketball. We don't need some clowns sitting courtside that are, trying to, I don't know, mess with the game.
I know it seems outrageous. And I think about those tickets in New York. You're paying $100,000 to mess with the game potentially. So we'll see if this continues to be a storyline. I certainly hope it isn't because what's happening on the court was pretty terrific last night between these 2 teams. And I would love for this to be a long series. All right, let's get to the big 3 of our number 1. If you missed it, we got Jonas Knox coming up at 12:30. Talk some NBA, talk some NFL with Jonas. And then once the Padres game wraps up, we got Coach Kentera for some live post-game reaction.
I talked to Coach this morning. Coach has some spicy thoughts on this Padres team. I promise you that.
Spoiler alert, it's not going great. Now, I did see Manny Machado hit a home run in this game, which is great. Right. But I did see maybe 5 minutes before he hit that home run, our buddy Darnay Tripp from across the street at NBC7 put out a tweet and said, why the F is Manny Machado playing in this game? This should have been a day where he rested. And then literally within 5 minutes, a home run.
There's some motivation, man. These boys got to wake up because
Manny's got his Apple Watch on set for Darnay Tripp reminders.
We're going to be getting into it when this game is done, but the bats, I mean, that is putrid. Putrid. This is a hard baseball team to watch right now.
Let's get to the big 3. Sammy, go ahead. Smash.
Your lunch break is here. Ready to go back to the office and knock the socks off your friends? Coworkers? It's time for the top stories of the day. The Big 3.
Text from the 619. Sammy showing his youth when he celebrates winning 1 out of 3 on long shots.
619.
IMXIII on YouTube saying, I'm not apologizing.
He's not apologizing for the Knicks. Listen,
Seriously, you got one pick right last night, Sammy.
Yeah, but I got the pick right that everyone was saying. I was a homer.
When I walked into the studio around 11 o'clock today, Sammy's sitting on the couch. He has his arm kind of back. He's like laid back, relaxing. He says, "You're welcome for all that money I won you on the Knicks last night."
Exactly.
What the hell are you talking about? You lost me money last night, Sammy.
You told me before we did the long shots, you're like, I'm fading you. You're like, I'm rolling with the Spurs tonight. And everyone was like, the Spurs. Sammy hates on the Spurs. I tried to tell everybody. And I did tell everyone, listen, I can't be held accountable for Garrett Cole not being money and the Guardians somehow putting up 5 runs. And then we don't need to talk about the tennis pick this morning. That was a whole different thing.
I don't even know what to do with you, Sammy. Where are we going?
All right, let's head to we got some NFL news. So Packers and Christian Watson reach a 4-year, $110.5 million extension as of this morning. Do we like the extension for the Packers? Does it make a lot of sense?
I don't think it does. Christian Watson has never had a 1,000-yard season in his career. I don't believe he's been healthy for an entire season yet. I get it. He is wildly talented. And when you talk about a deep ball threat, he's one of maybe 5 guys in the NFL I love right now going deep down the sideline for a potential like touchdown situation. But this seems like a wild overpay to me. $110 million is crazy. That's like not that far off from Justin Jefferson numbers. Are we really believing in him that much?
Yeah, I don't. Look, with the Packers, I think they've had some rough PR in the last week with Josh Jacobs, and who knows what's going to happen with that case.
Also, wide receivers walking out the door. You have Romeo Doubs gone.
Right to New England.
Wicks gone.
I mean,
the Golden, is that the rookie
Matthew
from last
Golden,
year?
The second year from Texas. He could pop. He's a speed demon. And then you got the news yesterday of Micah Parsons not going to be ready till maybe mid-October. Look, if Christian Watson's healthy, he's a good receiver. I feel like this is a little bit the Packers have suffered a problem with receivers, that they've had a lot of good number 2 receivers. They've had Jaden Reeds, Dontavian Wicks, Romeo Doubs. Christian Watson would be the best of that group, but it's all to him. It's like if he's going to stay on the field, this could look like a little bit of a bargain. But he has not shown ability, whether it was with Aaron Rodgers or Jordan Love, to stay on the field. So this is a really big year for Christian Watson or Matthew Golden to pop, because if Josh Jacobs is going to be out, they cannot rely on him and his goal line presence every week. They're going to need this passing attack to get going.
If I have this right, which I think I do, Jackson Smith-Njigba reset the market. He's the highest paid wide receiver right now. Jamar Chase right after that. Then I think it's Justin Jefferson, who's at 140, 141, something like that. Mm-hmm. Drake London just got 140 for 4 years. And then is it CD and now Christian Watson?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a little
top 10 wide receiver in football.
It's a little steep for me.
I don't know about that.
All right, let's stick with the NFL. So Jordan Mailata made some headlines this week talking about the A.J. Brown deal, the offensive tackle from the Philadelphia Eagles, longtime tackle, and Jordan Mailata said he's, quote, "I think this is more of a, it sounds terrible, but like, thank God it's over. It was just a slow pain of just, is he in or is it out?" So the key thing is there, he said, thank God it's over with A.J. Brown being dealt to the Patriots. We also got some more info. So the Patriots, there was a report that the Rams were worried about A.J. Brown's knee. That's why they didn't make the deal for him. The Patriots apparently are not concerned about his degenerative knee condition. Where are we at with A.J. Brown going to New England?
Let's start with the Jordan Mailata thing, because I think this quote has been everywhere over the last 2 days since he said it. Maybe a little out of context. I don't think he's talking about thank God A.J. Brown is gone. I think he's saying thank God the drama of A.J. Brown being here and will he stay or will he go is over. This way we can focus on the guys who are in the locker room and get ready for this season. He probably would have said the same thing if A.J. Brown had recommitted to the Eagles. Like, I don't think this was a personality thing towards A.J. Brown.
Right.
I think it was a situational thing, but it's definitely being painted to be a personality thing. The knee is a problem. Like, it's a problem. And I think it's been a problem for a while with A.J. Brown. And now, very, very curious to see how it works for the next couple of years. Look, the Rams aren't dumb. The Rams would have liked to have A.J. Brown on their team this year.
The best receiving duo in the league.
If he thinks, or if they think that the knee is an actual problem, I'm going to side with the Los Angeles Rams on this one, who are literally doing whatever it takes to gear up for a Super Bowl this year.
It's the move felt rushed to me in that New England's not dumb. They're going to say that they're, ready for the future, but they know that the Chiefs, the Ravens, the Bengals, all these teams missed the playoffs. The Bills added DJ Moore at the receiver spot in their own division. They see the Jets. Now, the Jets are not going to be better than the Patriots this year, but the Jets kind of setting the table for having a quarterback next year, getting Kenyon Sadiq, getting Omar Cooper Jr., David Bailey. And all these teams in the AFC, it was a very fortunate path they had with the Chargers not having their tackles, the Texans offense being hurt, and Bo Nix not being there. It felt like a rush deal. It was like, we got to go get something to keep up the buzz of that we just went on a Super Bowl run. This degenerative knee condition, A.J. Brown is unpredictable to begin with, demanding targets. I think the Eagles will be winning this deal in the long run. A couple years from now, I think A.J. Brown is a headache that the Eagles are happy to be rid of.
All right, let's save number 3 for the other side. We got Jonas Knox in 15 minutes, Coach Kentera in an hour and 15 to react to whatever happens in the remainder of this Padres game. We'll get into Big 3, number 3, coming up next at San Diego Sports 760. You're listening live on the iHeartRadio app. Our iHeartRadio Music Festival is back. Hey, if anyone's tuning in because they were just watching the Padres game and they got disappointed, we'll have a full reaction as soon as the game wraps up. But you can win your way to the iHeartRadio Music Festival before you can buy your tickets. Live performances from the Goo Goo Dolls, Kenny Chesney, Lainey Wilson, Snoop, D.O.G., Weezer, and more. September 18th and 19th at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. 2 nights, 1 stage. Listen to win tickets before you can buy them, including airfare, hotel, and accommodations in Vegas, plus $1,000 of spending cash. Next chance to text in and win is going to happen after 1 o'clock, and our exclusive Capital One cardholder presale will begin on Wednesday, June 10th at 10 a.m. So yeah, Padres are getting blown out now by the Philadelphia Phillies.
Man,
bad road trip, bad stretch of 10 games. What, they've lost 9 of their last 10 if this score holds?
Yeah, Darnay Tripp had the stat, but it's the coming into the game, their 1-8 is the worst stretch since May 2023.
Yikes.
When they went 1-7. I mean, there's a whole conversation we're getting into after, but people are talking about them being buyers at the deadline. Keeps going like this, I think we're having a whole different conversation about what the future of this team needs to be.
Now, luckily, there's a lot of time between now and then. Maybe they turn it around. I do think in 2024, it was a road trip in Philly where the whole season turned around and they went on fire. So maybe that'll happen here. All right. We got
hopefully, but they ain't giving us much to be excited about.
Nah, but it's baseball, man. There's lots of time. Coach Kentera is going to be joining us at 1:30 as well to react to all of this. Now, Jonas Knox will be here in 10 minutes. We're going to talk some NFL, some NBA with Jonas. Can't wait for that. Always one of my favorite guests to have on the show. But Sammy, what was Big 3 numero tres going to be?
So Wemby had 26 points, but brutal from the field. A lot of those points came via free throws.
I believe a career high in missed shots for Wemby too.
Yeah, a lot of turnovers for him. So 26 points, 6 of 21 from the field. 12 of his 26 points came from the free throw line. Was Wemby the most to blame last night? I just think the conversation is, and I'm not coming on here being like, oh, Wemby.
Well, you are a Spurs hater.
I'm not a Spurs hater. I don't
you're
even dislike the Spurs at all. I was pulling for him against the Thunder. Wemby is unbelievable, but I do think last night is we can celebrate Wemby for what he's going to be, but we're very quick to coronate people. It's, the Thunder, this dynasty, well, then they get beat, so it must be the Spurs. And then the Nuggets a couple of years before that, the Celtics the year before, a couple of years ago. It's just, it is funny in the NBA how things change so quickly.
Well, it's basketball too, right? And usually over the course of a 7-game series, at least in the past, the better team is going to win out because it's a 7-game series. But in any singular game of basketball, man, look at March Madness. Why is it as special as it is? Because you get upsets all over the place. So I think with basketball specifically, and last night specifically, I'm not going to say Wemby's the number one person to blame because Jalen Brunson is the number one person to blame for how last night went. And I don't think we should just start always attacking the team on the losing side and praising the team on the winning side. Like Jalen Brunson won that game for the New York Knicks, and he is a badass. The fault with Wemby is the fact that against OKC, there were times where Alex Caruso could guard Wemby a little bit. There were times last night where OG Anunoby was able to guard Wemby a little bit.
Teams have had success putting smaller players on Wemby.
Until Wemby can put on another 20 pounds, probably, maybe even more than that, this is going to continue to be a problem. He's simply just not strong enough. He's huge. He's 7'4", and he's amazing, wildly talented, athletic, can make any shot on the floor at any time. And that's all true. But until you're forcing somebody who is definitely slower than him to guard him, he is going to be able to be vulnerable in times like last night.
I don't even put people are blaming Wemby for last night. I don't. I blame De'Aaron Fox. De'Aaron Fox is supposed to be the guy that's been here before. He played 7-8 seasons with the Kings, only one postseason run, but that was against the Warriors. They went 7 games.
That was such a sick run, by the way. I don't know if you saw Sacramento during that time, but they were literally light the beam was their mantra then. It was very, very cool.
Right. They were the best offense in the league, and he went 3 of 13 last night. 0 of 4 from 3 with 7 points. I mean, Wemby at 26 points, Castle at 17. Thank God for Champagnie. Champagnie was the reason that they had the 14-point lead to begin with. Champagnie was hitting threes left and right in the first half because the Knicks have been susceptible to corner threes. So I don't think all the Wemby criticism is fair today. When I met with the coronation thing, it's we get so high on a player. This guy could be the GOAT coming into game 1. Now I'm hearing today people are like, did we overrate Wemby? It's no. Wemby is a phenomenal player. He's going to grow into it. I agree with you. He needs to put on more weight because teams have had some success dropping the OG Anunobis, dropping smaller players onto them and giving them different looks. But De'Aaron Fox got paid to be the leader, and he's been outplayed by Stephon Castle. Dylan Harper didn't get a lot of run last night in the fourth quarter, which I didn't really understand that from Mitch Johnson's perspective. But Wemby needs some help. This Knicks team is too talented for it just to be the Wemby show, and they're not going to beat the Knicks if that's going to be the case.
I would tend to agree. This is going to be a fun series, though, man. I really enjoyed what I saw last night. I saw a tweet yesterday that said Stephon Castle plays basketball like Isaiah Pacheco runs the football.
Yeah,
because he just kind of plays mean. He's super fun to watch, man, and he's part of the reason why the Spurs team is likable is because of Stephon Castle.
I don't want to make this comparison because he's not this good, but he is you can tell he modeled his game after Derrick Rose.
Yeah, a little bit. Just lacking a little bit of the spark that Derrick Rose had.
He's not Derrick Rose, but it's like a downhill player, old school. It's not about the 3-point line. It's about penetrating the defense. And that's really when him and Wemby are in the pick and roll, when the team's unstoppable.
I really like watching Stephon Castle play basketball because it is a little bit of a throwback style. Like he plays like he's still in college, but he's in the NBA. Wildly fun to watch. All right. Hopefully games 2 through 7 provide as much excitement as game 1 did. We got Jonas Knox coming up on the other side. And Sammy, correct me if I'm wrong, but we have not played the sounder yet. Is that correct?
We have not played the sounder for soccer tickets.
Well, we have a pair of tickets for Colombia versus Jordan this weekend at Snapdragon Stadium, 4:00 on Sunday. These national teams are getting ready for the 2026 FIFA World Cup. You can buy tickets at sandiegofc.com/countdown to 26.
You got to look out for Jordan's striker, man. Jordan's attack is seconds and
that's why we like Sammy Long. But just keep listening for that sounder. Once you hear it, be caller number 7. You're winning the tickets. Jonas Knox, Fox Sports Radio, coming up next live on the iHeartRadio app.
This sport is sponsored by Mothers Against Drunk Driving. Padres currently down by 4 runs in the top of the 8th inning against the Philadelphia Phillies. They look to salvage the series after dropping the first 2 games. The New York Knicks won game 1 on the road against the San Antonio Spurs, 105-95 last night. Jalen Brunson had 30 points. And then NHL Stanley Cup Finals game 2 action tonight back in Carolina as they look to even the series against Vegas, who won game 1 5-4. For victims of drunk and drug driving, your grief is unique, but you're not alone. You always have a place at MAD. Call the 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org.
San Diego Sports 760, Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2:00 today. He puts the Joe in 2 cups and a pro, or 2 pros and a cup of Joe. He's the conduit to Live Bet Jesus. He is the host of the Jonas Knox Show. He is the host of Knox Locks. Jonas Knox joining us today on San Diego Sports 760. What's up, Jonas?
How we doing, boys? Thank you as always for having me on. I appreciate it. What's going on with you?
Have you heard from Live Bet Jesus recently, or is he taking the month off?
God, no. You see, the problem is those guys don't respect him, right? They don't respect the creativeness. They don't respect his ability, his commitment to the show. And so whenever he pops up, he's just sort of easily dismissed. They point out all the losses, but they don't put in, take into account the hard work, all the handicapping that goes into trying to make these picks. Like, he's basically, Live Bet Jesus was Brendan Sorsby before Brendan Sorsby. And yet he's the guy who gets all the attention. And Live Bet Jesus just gets kicked in the you-know-what constantly and made fun of. And I think it's kind of disgusting. I think it's very disrespectful, if you ask me.
I would agree. It's sacrilegious, and that's in the Bible. You can look it up. All right, Jonas, big moves in the NFL, but let's start with the NBA. Were you able to catch any of game 1 last night between the Spurs and the Knicks? The Jalen Brunson game that was the Wemby disappointment. What were your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I mean, it just, you watch San Antonio at times and you're just reminded at how young they are. And for as great as Victor Wembanyama is, and he's unbelievable. And I tell people all the time, like, if you don't believe in aliens, watch that guy. Because the only comp to him is a wind puppet outside a car dealership when there's a Memorial Day sale or something. Like, he looks like something you plug in for Halloween and just put in your front yard. He doesn't make any sense. He's a building with a jump shot and handles and plays defense. None of it makes any sense. He's an alien. He's a freak of nature. He's also 22 years old. And so there's times you watch the Spurs and you go, it feels like they're at a place that they expected to be 2-3 years down the road from now and instead they're here now, and the Knicks look like a more veteran team. The problem is, what comes with the Knicks is their obnoxious fan base. You've got all of these insty Knicks fans that are popping up out of sewer covers in downtown Manhattan that are all of a sudden diehards for the team. They're the same zeros who a few years ago were ripping James Dolan, telling him to sell the team because he kicked out Charles Oakley from a game. And now everybody's kumbaya because the Knicks are 3 games away from winning the finals. And I'm telling you, I think they're going to do it. I just think this world's going to be worse off when the Knicks do win. Just saying.
Oh, Jonas, flipping to the NFL. Obviously, couple massive trades this week. Let's start with the Myles Garrett. The Rams go from 8-1 favorites to win to now 6-1. Who would you right now put as the biggest threat to them in the NFC, if there even is one?
Oh, God. I would probably say, man, that's a good one. I would say the Niners, under normal circumstances, because they've had their number in a lot of ways. I wouldn't say Seattle, because Seattle, I look at Seattle and I go, the game that they won on Thursday night against the Rams, the classic last year, was actually, from that point, Seattle never lost a game. And that's sort of what started them on their run. But you could, there's a couple of plays between those two teams either way that you look at and go, hey man, if the Rams make a play here, if they catch a pass here, if they, it's a game of inches, as they always say. And I look at the Rams Seahawks matchup from last year, and I think the Rams really had an opportunity. If Seattle wasn't going to win the Super Bowl, I thought the Rams would have done it last year. I'm going to go Philly. I still think Philly is a team that gets looked at as, well, there's dysfunction and they're miserable and they're this and that. But, if you see what they did with A.J. Brown and you see how all the reports that are out of how miserable he was and what may or may not have been happening and all the rumors that are out there, Philly's still a team who over the past 5-6 years has been the best team in the NFL, and it's really not close. And if there's one quarterback who's put up on a big stage, Jalen Hurts in 2 Super Bowls against Patrick Mahomes outplayed him in both. So I'm going to go Philly. But I just look at what the Rams have done, and I say if Stafford stays healthy and his back holds up and his health stays what it was last year, that's a really, really difficult team to beat because it's not just the stars they've added, it's the stars that they've drafted as well, too.
Yeah, Philly with a washed running back, an offensive line that can no longer do the tush push. Sure, Jonas, sure. I'm just
telling you.
Speaking of big moves, I don't know if you saw this, but the Packers just gave Christian Watson, $110 million, the wide receiver who hasn't played a full season, never gone over 1,000 yards in his career. Massive overpay for the Packers.
Yeah, I mean, and there's also, you look at the Drake London deal that was done and you go, man, what did he get? $141 million?
Yeah.
Like 80 guaranteed. It's just, yeah, look, the devil is in the details on when the guaranteed dollars hit. But regardless, those guys are getting massive paydays. But I would also encourage people to, just because the contract looks great, and I learned this because, listen, I'm like you guys, all right? Let's just all call it what it is. We're a couple of scumbag radio guys, all right? We don't know what that world is, all right? If we did know how to play, we would have been playing. We're not, okay? I tried, I gave it a go, and next thing you know, I dislocated my kneecap in Illinois at a family reunion because I was hammered, okay? And that's when I realized I got no shot at being an athlete. So when I talk to athletes and I talk to a guy like Brady Quinn who tells me, hey, understand that these deals look really, really nice because that's the information that their agents want them to get out because it boosts their cred when it comes to being able to get deals done. Is he going to see all of that money? Probably not. But the fact that he's seeing this much shows you he's a really talented guy, but to your point, has not been healthy. And I just wonder if maybe the Packers are looking at this going, you know what? Micah Parsons, that injury is worse than we thought it was going to be. I don't know if anybody's seen Josh Jacobs has been in the news lately. Kind of a problem. And on the same front, this is a team that gagged away 2 games against their arch rival, the Chicago Bears. And I think maybe this is sort of a, hey, don't pay attention to any of that stuff. We just gave our wide receiver top dollar and we're looking forward to next season.
I don't know if you saw this, Jonas, but there's like a bipartisan bill about college football trying to create kind of one entity, one like regulating body. And Nick Saban was actually on the Congress floor trying to campaign for it yesterday. Where are you at with that? Like we're having discussions of a 12-team playoff, a 16-team playoff, 24. How many teams should be in the playoff? And do you think it's feasible for them to actually have like a regulating body in college football?
Can we just go back to the good old days where, guys were just taking stuff onto the table? You know what I mean? Like, can we just see that? Anybody ever seen Blue Chips where, Ricky Rowe got a tractor and nobody could know about it because it's like, if anybody did find out about it, he'd be ineligible. It's like everybody wanted to rush to give all these athletes money and they deserve all of it. But then they didn't think it through. Like, oh, well, what about this? And what happens if this happens? And what about transfer portals? And it's like, all of that stuff hit in the middle of COVID because we were just looking for something to talk about other than the fact that you had to wear an N95 to brush your teeth. And then this stuff pops up. You give all these guys this money and all this responsibility. And then they're like, oh, well, wait a second. That's kind of a problem now. We didn't think about this part of it. You got agents representing kids that aren't even agents. They have no credibility, no nothing. They don't know what they're signing or what they're doing. They're just representing these guys. I look at it and I go, dude, NIL, expansion, the transfer portal, you guys just figure it out. I just want to watch football, okay? I like the simple things, and I told you guys this, simple pleasures in life. Like, you know what? Hey, man, it's 9 o'clock. Why not watch an Aztec Hawaii Rainbow Warrior game in front of 14 people at a soccer stadium in Honolulu, and then see if you can get down on a couple of wagers, or see if you can get some action from one of your buddies who's looking to lose a little bit of cash because he's hammered too. I just look at it as the simple things. It's college football. It's college sports. Can we get back to that? And can we stop discussing all of this stuff in court? I'm tired of it. I'm fed up with it. I just want to go back to the good old days.
Jonas Knox, 2 pros and a cup of Joe. Couldn't have said it any better myself. Thank you, Jonas. We always appreciate having you on, and we'll talk to you soon.
You guys are the best. Thank you. I appreciate it. We'll do it again.
Jonas Knox, Fox Sports Radio, 2 pros and a cup of Joe, live bet Jesus, all the things. You can follow him online at the Jonas Knox as opposed to the other Jonas Knox. All right, we got long shots coming up next. Sammy, is this going to go a little better than it did yesterday?
Yeah, I mean,
what are you talking about? I hit the Knicks pick.
I'm giving you Knicks money line. Unfortunately, there's no NBA on tonight, but we know my NHL has been good recently, and we have some big tennis matches in the morning tomorrow in the semifinals of Roland Garros. So
I'm actually pumped about the Stanley Cup final game too. I'm
excited about this game tonight.
I've never really gotten into hockey, but whatever it is about this Vegas Golden Knights team, they are wildly fun to watch, and these two teams clearly don't like each other very much, and they're going.
Isn't it crazy too how Vegas went from being a city that people thought couldn't support professional sports because it was so touristy to now it has the NHL, about to have baseball, has the NFL, has the WNBA. They're about to get an NBA team, and they're one of the most vibrant sports cities in America as of right now.
And they have the number 1 overall pick playing quarterback for them this year. We'll see if Mendoza hits. All of a sudden, this is a very different conversation. The AFC West has a new fear.
Yeah. Well,
Mahomes and the Chiefs will never be the same.
We'll worry about the Raiders when they actually do something and can run a team well.
All right, we got long shots coming up next. Plus your chance to win a 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair. You just got to keep listening for the next, I would say, 18 minutes. And then you have your chance at those tickets at San Diego Sports 760. You're listening live on the iHeartRadio app. San Diego Sports 760, Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long. You are minutes away from winning a 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair. Just wait for that cue to call. I'll give it to you in a second, just after long shots. In their final match before the World Cup, the U.S. men's national team is taking on Germany in Chicago this Saturday. You can hear the match starting at 11:15 Saturday morning, exclusively here on San Diego Sports 760. What are we looking at for the boys this weekend against Germany, Sammy?
Well, they're going to play their full squad.
Need a little Pulisic action?
We will be having some USA and Germany bets tomorrow, but
really,
yes, we have a very special long shot tomorrow.
Is that like betting on preseason football?
No, because this is a legit tune-up. People are going to be looking at this match because Senegal was a top 15 ranked in the world. They get a W there. Some people take it with a little bit of a grain of salt because in the second half, neither team played all their guys. But Germany, I believe, is like number 6, number 7, something like that. So this is, America building a little momentum next week. Very excited next week. The World Cup starting.
This is the only time I will say we when talking about a team, but we need to put on a good performance against Germany.
Hell yeah, we did.
Whenever it's Team USA, that's when the we's can come out. All right, we got long shots coming up in just a second. San Diego County Fair tickets after that. The Padres did get a couple runs back on a Jackson Merrill homer, which is good to see. But we'll see if Sammy can make us all some money, which would be great to see. Sammy, smash.
You looking for some luck? Want to win big? Gotta play big.
You are so money and you don't even know it.
Time to take a chance.
Pay that man his money.
With long shots.
However this game wraps up, by the way, Coach Kentera will be here at 1:30 to give us the full breakdown on his eyes. And I think Coach is going to be a little ticked off today, if I'm being honest.
Yes, Coach. I told you earlier. Texted him a little bit. Coach has some things to say. Some things to say at 1:30.
All right, we need a winner, Sammy.
Well, guess what? There's no NBA tonight. We've hit the MLB the last couple of days. We have plenty of time this summer.
We've lost on MLB the last couple of days.
MLB's in a little bit of a timeout right now. just a 1-day timeout. But guess what? Luckily, we have Roland Garros quarterfinals, semifinals, and we have the Stanley Cup. Let's head to tennis first. Let's go to the men's side. All right. Matteo Arnaldi versus Flavio Cobolli. Flavio Cobolli, one of the top-ranked players in the world, number 10. Arnaldi's made a really good run. Now, he began, there's actually before when you qualify for Roland Garros, there's actually some people that are trying to qualify before who actually play a set of matches. Now, Arnaldi has been playing here for a while. He has logged more court time to reach a major semifinal than any other player since 1991. But Cobolli's fantastic. Look, Arnaldi.
Is this like Rory playing at Augusta before the tournament?
No, because a lot of these guys are trying to qualify to even be in. The top-ranked players of the world already qualify, but some of these guys have to play a little tournament before to even get in. So Arnaldi's making a name for himself, but I think Cobolli's too much. He's been against some of the top-tier competition. Fantastic player. He's lost just 2 sets overall in his route to the semifinal. I like Cobolli to cover the set spread, -1.5. If you want to make it a little spicy, you can do it in 4 sets, but just be safer. Get it -1.5. I think Cobolli gets it done. All right. Jakub Mensik taking on Alexander Zverev. Zverev's got all the pressure now on this field because no Alcaraz, no Sinner, no Djokovic, no Ben Shelton. Go down the list. All the top guys have been knocked out. Zverev has been essentially the number 3 men's tennis player in the world for a long time now. He's basically been that guy. He just couldn't crack Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner. And the fact that Novak Djokovic has been inactive for a lot of these tournaments, Zverev's been that guy. The fact that he doesn't have to face these guys, Zverev is the overwhelming favorite. Now, Mensik, we won on the plus money the other day on him when he took on João Fonseca, who actually the 19-year-old from Brazil, who had a massive upset in this tournament against Novak Djokovic. Mensik's been on a great run. And Mensik could, I think, steal a set in this game. But I think this is Zverev's tournament. I think Zverev is too much for the 20-year-old. Zverev gets it done. I think we're looking at a Zverev-Cobolli matchup for a final on Sunday, which will be tremendous. We will have a bet on that tomorrow if that's what the final that comes. But Alexander Zverev, fantastic player. I think this is time to finally win Roland Garros. He had a scare a couple games ago in the first set. But now that he's kind of got those jitters out of the way, I think he's just the best player in the field. Mensik's been going for a while. I like Zverev -1.5 in terms of sets. We like that. All right, NHL Stanley Cup Final. Now, The other day, we went on the under 5.5. The Golden Knights got the upset. Now, in that Carolina Hurricanes game, the Golden Knights were the first team in Stanley Cup history in game one to, on the road, come back from a multi-goal deficit. Now, they got down 2-0 early in the game. Kind of surprising because Carter Hart gave up, the goalie for Vegas, gave up a couple early goals in that game, as well as Frederik Andersen has been one of the best goalies in all of the NHL. They kind of got to him early in that game. I do like Carolina on the spread tonight, -1.5. I think Carolina is too good. They tied this series up. And if we remember in the last series, the Eastern Conference Final, the Montreal Canadiens actually blasted them in game one at home for Carolina, and they made big-time adjustments. In that game one, Carolina actually had 3 breakaway chances that they did not convert on. Could have been 4. One of the defensemen for Vegas got back in time, but Vegas playing at an extremely high level with Mitch Marner, who came over from Toronto. Excellent player, Jack Eichel. It's a very talented team. I think Vegas actually going to win this series. Tonight, though, I think Carolina gets some get back, sends it back to Vegas, -1.5. I like Carolina on the spread. So Carolina on the spread, -1.5. I like Flavio Caboli on the spread, -1.5 sets. And I also like Alexander Zverev, -1.5 sets in Roland Garros tomorrow morning.
I'm telling you, Flavio Caboli feels like a shelved project by Campbell's Soup. And I probably would have really, really liked whatever it was.
Hey, if he wins Roland Garros, that might be coming up next for him.
Maybe. All right, the Padres have officially lost. Poor guy Jace Bowen making his MLB debut this weekend. 2 out of 3 games he finishes with a strikeout in Philadelphia. So that game's in the books. Padres have now officially lost 9 out of their last 10. Gets swept by Philadelphia 6-0 over the course of 2 series within the last week and a half.
Brutal.
Rough stretch for the Pods. Can they turn it around? Potentially. What's going to happen at the trade deadline? Sounds like a juicy topic I would like to dive into. We'll do that in hour 2. Right now, though, your opportunity to win a 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair. Once upon a fair, there was a tale of food, fun, friends, family, laughter, tradition, music, amazement, and more. The San Diego County Fair, the biggest and longest running event in San Diego County, making its triumphant return next week, June 10th through July 5th, 2026. Closed on Mondays and Tuesdays. Visit sdfair.com to plan your happily ever after, or give us a call right now, 877-767-4760. If you would like a 4-pack of fair tickets, they are yours. Sammy, what caller number are we giving these to?
Caller number 12.
Caller number 12. You're going to the fair at San Diego Sports 760. You're listening live on the iHeartRadio app.
The sport is sponsored by Unbound.org. Padres got swept by the Philadelphia Phillies as of a couple minutes ago. They'll be back on Friday, back tomorrow at home, taking on the Mets for a 3-game set. Then we'll be hosting the Reds after that at home. And in the Stanley Cup tonight, we got game 2. Vegas took game 1, 5-4 over the Carolina Hurricanes. The game 2 will be at 5:00 tonight. Carolina is currently a -162 favorite to even the series. Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice. Continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. Change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at Unbound.org.
I'm Ben Fletcher. That's Sammy Long.
I'm excited about it. It brings a lot of people together.
Now, live from the East Set Studios of San Diego Sports 760, we go in the zone with Fletch and Sammy.
It's hour number 2 here on San Diego Sports 760. Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you. If it's your first time joining us, welcome. We understand the Padres just lost. They will be the topic of conversation here for the majority of this hour. Swept by the Phillies twice in the last 2 weeks. We're going to go back actually and start reading all these comments that were coming in during the Padres game and get you caught up. So we'll start with Steven, who says Matsui throwing error, Fermin throwing error, Marinaccio Bach junk. Sir Will says the pitching staff needs to be nearly perfect for the Padres to win a single game. That's true. Jay Silves says monitoring the Padres game while listening to you boys. I'm loyal.
Shout out to Jay Silves.
Jay Silves, you're the man. Love you, pal. Steven says, tired of hearing how great this bullpen is. Maybe one guy is, and he never gets used. Yeah, when's the last time we saw Mason Miller? Seriously.
Well, it's a good point. That it's good to have a lead when you have a closer like that.
Rich says, Freddie wastes the last challenge for the Padres, then takes a strike right down the pipe. He can't win a challenge behind the dish or while he's batting. Steven says Johnson 2 flared hits the same way. Yeah, but Bryce Johnson actually broke up the no-hitter early in the game. There was a no-hitter by, why am I blanking? Zach Wheeler. Into the 5th inning, and Bryce Johnson was the one to break it up. Earlier we were talking about NBA Finals Game 1, and Jamar says Stephon Castle reminds me of John Morant without all the guns. Jay Silves says Fermin in his last 103 at-bats is hitting 126 with no home runs, 4 RBIs, 0 stolen bases, and a 392 OPS. Atrocious with the ABS and missing taggable plays at the dish. Freddie Fermin, maybe it's run its course, man. I'd be okay if we didn't see Freddie much.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to just point to Fermin.
He seems like a good guy, but he's not doing anything. I feel like the Castellanos treatment is coming soon.
The Castellanos treatment, especially with, Campy, having started off the year hot. I mean,
hopefully he's healthy. I don't know what's the deal with Luis Campisano. He's another guy we haven't heard from in a while.
Right. You feel like Fermin will get picked up, but I mean, he's been a disaster, but it's kind of hard to just point to Fermin because 1 through 9 has really been a disaster for the last couple weeks here.
Sir Will, more $8 tickets coming soon to Petco Park.
Yeah.
I'll scoop those up, man. Sitting in the 300 section is always a good time.
They better lower them prices if the team's going to play like this.
Jay Silves, disaster from the jump. Steven, boycott the homestand. I'm never into boycotting things. It's still a fun time out at the ballpark.
Well, no. To what his point is, I want to tell people how to spend their money. But to his point is people are tired of watching this team play awful. And when you hit them where their wallet hurts in terms of spending money with the organization, it creates, pressure to put a product on the field that is worth paying top dollar to go see.
Sure. I understand it. Just not something I'm super into, but we'll see. All right. So this Padres team is in a bad slump here. Lost 9 of their last 10 games. Things are going south fast, and they're losing games, unfortunately, to people who are with them in the wild card race, because that's what it is. If you haven't been watching what the Dodgers are doing, they're playing incredible baseball right now. Shohei Ohtani might win Cy Young and MVP this year. First guy since Clayton Kershaw did it actually in 2014. But we'll see. Again, 100 games left or so. But this Padres team is where our focus should be. And the fact that they've lost 9 out of 10, and the fact that there's still things going on about Tariq Skubal, the fact that there's still things going on about this team adding, are we serious right now? Is that really what you want to do with this team?
Well, how does Tariq Skubal help? He doesn't hit the baseball.
No, and I really don't know if there's a single piece in Major League Baseball right now that you could go get and add to this team, and that may be a doomsday ideal behind it. But seriously, if we're being completely honest with ourselves, is there anybody in baseball right now who you could bring in one person that's going to come help this team that's available for trade, not Shohei Ohtani?
No.
Right. I don't think there is.
Because this team, here's the ugly part about this team. they can't beat good teams. The only series win that was a good series win this year were the Mariners twice. And the Mariners aren't exactly living up to the expectations that we thought. I think by the end of the year, the Mariners will be the team that lost in the ALCS to the Blue Jays, but they've lost 2 series to the Phillies, swept by the Phillies. They've lost series to the Cubs. They've lost series to the Nationals. They lost a series to the Dodgers. They're tied 1-1 against the Diamondbacks. They don't have a good series win so far this season. So, I mean, we're talking about, Skubal and could, AJ Preller checking in on him and checking in on closers a couple weeks ago and Josh Hader, potential return of him and Aroldis Chapman. I don't know what to do because they don't hit 1 through 9. And it's not like this is not a Pirate situation where the Pirates have an unbelievable pitching staff in Bubba Chandler, Paul Skeens, and Mitch Keller and all these guys, and they don't pay enough money 1 through 9 to be successful with the bats. The Padres pay these guys. They pay Machado huge money. They pay Bogarts huge money. Tatis, Merrill, all these guys are supposed to be a nasty, foursome in the batting lineup. And they've just been atrocious. Like Manny Machado, he hit the home run today, has looked pretty lost at the plate. Besides that, Fernando has 3 hits yesterday, but he has the base running gaff. Jackson Merrill's not looked like what he was his rookie season. And all these guys have OPSs below 700. So I don't think that there's one, like, let's say you go get a star slugger. That's totally contingent on the rest of these guys turning it around. And so far through 2.5 months, they look lifeless at the plate.
Now, if we want to take away any positives from this road trip, which I'm not sure that anyone does, Jackson Merrill and Manny Machado both hit home runs today, and that's great. Manny Machado is still hitting under 200 on the season. Jackson Merrill is off to a pretty brutal start as well. But it's good to see, I guess, the ball leave the ballpark. Maybe that translates into more once they get into New York, once they get back to Petco Park. But it's wildly frustrating to watch this team play subpar baseball right now when we know what they're capable of, and it feels like they're just falling up short every second. And so I look for places to kind of put the blame, and I'm kind of on board with the Steven Souza Jr. conversation right now. I'm not calling him for him to be fired tomorrow, but something serious needs to happen here. And I think Craig Stammen's hitting his first real rough patch as a manager. I'm curious to see how he handles this.
One, look at the home runs today by Merrill Machado. Good that they hit home runs. Merrill came in the 9th, so off of bullpen. It was
already a 6-2 game.
And Machado, to his credit, got after Wheeler.
It was a 3-0 game, and it was off of Zach Wheeler. It was a big home run.
So, but it was at the end of his time. It was the last inning Wheeler was in there. Now, I'm not trying to be too nitpicky, but the Padres don't ever jump on teams. They don't ever have a successful first 3 innings. And most of the times this game, when you watch this team, they're constantly having to dig themselves out of a hole. And I think that's why their record against good teams is not very good. Because it's one thing when you're playing, I don't know, throw a team out there, some trash team that
the Rockies.
It's one thing when you play the Rockies to not hit for 7 innings and be able to get to a bullpen that's just simply not very good late in games. When you're playing the Phillies with Johan Duran, when you're playing the Dodgers who don't even have Edwin Diaz right now, but have one of the best bullpens in baseball, when you're playing these teams that have really good high-end starters at the end, the Brewers with Uribe, even though Sheets did get to him in game 2, Uribe is a really good closer. You're not able to just pull rabbits out of your you-know-what every time late in games, and that's what it feels like this team relies on consistently and why the record is not good right now.
I believe the phrase is rabbits out of the hat. I don't think anyone's pulling rabbits out of you-know-what or wherever you're talking about. 858 texting into the show saying, Phillies fan here. Do you think Major League Baseball could pencil in the Padres for us for the rest of the season? 858. That's not very nice.
That's foul.
Congratulations to Matthew who won those San Diego County Fair tickets. Appreciate you listening, man. We do have a pair of tickets to go see Colombia and Jordan coming up this weekend at Snapdragon Stadium. You're listening for the sounder. We have not played that sounder yet. Once we do, and you'll know when we do, call 877-767-4760 and you will get a pair of tickets for this Sunday's match. Let's get to the big 3 of our number 2. Coach Kentera coming up in 20 minutes to kind of run through everything of the last 10, 15 days of Padres baseball. We'll do that with the coach coming up at 1:30. Sammy, if you will, smash.
Your lunch break is here. Ready to go back to the office and knock the socks off your friends? Coworkers? It's time for the top stories of the day. The Big 3.
YouTube is up at San Diego Sports 760. I feel like I haven't told you to go subscribe over there in a while, but please do. We have content going up there every single day. Sammy, where are we going?
All right, Russell Wilson confirmed he was retiring. He did it like twice. He announced he was joining CBS on the day of the Garrett trade. Kind of got buried, so then he did it again yesterday that he's officially retiring, so we could get a little press run from Russell Wilson. Is Russell Wilson a Hall of Famer?
Probably not. I think at one point in his career he was on a Hall of Fame path. I don't think it panned out good enough for him. Like, he was still in his athletic prime when he went to the Denver Broncos. That was a disaster. It was the worst signing of recent memory for the Denver Broncos. In fact, they may still be paying him money. I'm not positive. But I think Russ at one point was on a Hall of Fame track. I think he had one of the best defenses the football's seen in the last 20 years. And I think he played great on offense, and that led to a Super Bowl win and another Super Bowl appearance. And if they would have given Marshawn the ball, who knows? It might have been 2 Super Bowl wins. If he would have gotten that second Super Bowl win, different conversation. But he just got one. So we talked to Eric Williams yesterday, who's a Hall of Fame voter. He said it's going to be an uphill climb for Russ. I feel very similarly. I think he did a lot of damage to himself post-Seattle, and kind of damage we can't overlook.
Russell Wilson's had one of the most interesting careers in terms of like public narrative, because Russell Wilson went from being beloved, maybe not Niner fans, but I'm saying like Russell Wilson was thought of as a guy that people rooted for in Seattle and was like a super nice guy who was very talented, fun to watch, to interesting how all of his former teammates, Marshawn, Pete, his head coach, Doug Baldwin, none of these guys, Richard Sherman, all these guys kind of came out against Russ and over the years and have not really seemed too fond of him. Then Sean Payton kind of drug his name through the mud when he played terrible in Denver. Now, he didn't play very well, but Sean Payton certainly left him out to dry. I don't think he's a Hall of Famer. Right. If they give the ball to Marshawn, he beats Brady in that Super Bowl, then I think it's a different conversation because he would have 2 rings. But yeah, Russell Wilson went from like early in his Seattle career after that first Super Bowl. I think if you would ask people this question, he'd be like, oh, 100%.
He went from being a top 5 quarterback in football to a meme. And it was one Subway commercial that screwed him up. Pretty spicy. Remember the Danger Russ sandwich?
Broncos country, let's ride.
That did him in, man. And then he was never to be heard of again. What's next?
All right, so Brian Schottenheimer, George Pickens is not at OTAs today. Apparently, he's at his own football camp. Brian Schottenheimer expects George Pickens, star wide receiver for the Dallas Cowboys, to be at mandatory minicamp in a couple weeks, with multiple receivers getting extended. Christian Watson getting a 4-year, $110.5 million deal with the Packers. Drake London getting a 4-year, $141 million deal extension with the Falcons. Do you think Pickens will be getting paid or will be a Dallas Cowboy in the long term?
You may have to pay him. I tell you, those 2 contracts make me think we might have a bit of a holdout coming from Mr. Pickens. We haven't seen anything on that front. All signs point to him being ready to go for minicamp for the season this year. But when you're looking around and saying, hey, I'm at least as good a receiver as Drake London, I'm definitely a better receiver than Christian Watson, and I'm on a franchise tag, what the hell's going on here? There's a chance we're going to see George Pickens do a bit of a wide receiver diva contract situation, which, by the way, I don't necessarily blame him. I really don't. George Pickens gets a bad rap because I think at times he has been a locker room cancer. He was excellent for the Dallas Cowboys a year ago. He probably deserves to be getting paid what Drake London's getting paid. And if George Pickens wants to, I think he kind of has the power right now over the Dallas Cowboys and over any other team that wants to sign him.
I do. Pickens is interesting because your point's valid about he hasn't been a locker room cancer with the Cowboys. Now, he hasn't had to be the main guy, and he was supposed to be that in Pittsburgh. Remember, he's getting in fights every 5 seconds during the games. I mean, and Mike Tomlin just had enough of him. Mike Tomlin was like, I'm done with this. And Mike Tomlin's historically been a player's coach, a guy that has kind of rejuvenated, dealt with Le'Veon Bell, dealt with Antonio Brown, dealt with Ben Roethlisberger, dealt with a lot of big personalities over the years, and was able to curtail him. Now, he's certainly better than Christian Watson. I think you could argue that Drake London. I would take Drake London because I think if Drake London played with Dak Prescott, he would be one of the top receivers in football.
And Drake London went to USC.
Drake London has had to deal with Michael Penix, and when Kirk Cousins took over the reins in Atlanta, his numbers went through the roof. And Pickens being the 1 is a lot different than Pickens being the number 2. I do think Jerry Jones pays him at the end of the day because he let Michael walk. And
this year?
Yeah.
Really?
I think he does.
So if George Pickens goes for a little bit of a holdout situation or even threatens it, you think Jerry caves?
Yeah, because I think
Not
Jerry
like.
I think Jerry
pays his guys. Jerry pays guys he drafts and that get developed through the Dallas Cowboys. I don't know that I see Jerry paying George Pickens.
But I think this year is different than the Mikey year. I don't think he deep down, well, he thought the Cowboys were not legit Super Bowl contenders. I think this year the Cowboys are a sneaky team in the NFC, and they finally have a defense that could be loaded for bear. You take George Pickens out of that equation on offense, that offense takes a hit, and I think at the end of the day, he caves for that.
Number 3 going to be about NBA Finals?
Yes.
Let's hit it on the other side, and we got Coach Kentera reacting to this Padres game coming up at 1:30. It's San Diego Sports 760. You're listening live on the iHeartRadio app. How about a big congratulations for Chris Johnson, who within the last 20 minutes just signed his first NFL contract. Aztecs cornerback, Aztecs for life.
What are you buying the second you sign a first round pick NFL contract deal?
A lot, a house, a car. Chris Johnson has certainly earned it all. Good for him. Very, very cool picture up if you want to check it out. They actually collaborated with the Aztecs football account and the Miami Dolphins account, but very, very cool. Chris Johnson signing his first NFL contract, has that big Chris Johnson smile on his face. Certainly represented San Diego State athletics well throughout his career, was one of the best cornerbacks, best defensive players in the country a year ago. You talk about a lockdown college corner, and he was reflected with that first round pick to the Miami Dolphins. Chris signs his contract within the last 20 minutes. Congratulations, Chris. Cannot wait to see what you do coming up in the next few years with Miami. He's going to be good, man. I think if he can get his body to match his mentality, he is going to be very, very good at the NFL level. Can't wait to watch him.
I'm excited. Miami is a good spot for him because, like, Miami could be sneaky. They're not making the playoffs, but in terms of just a sneaky, fun team, Malik Willis, Devon A-Chain, they got Chris Johnson, they got the tackle Proctor out of Alabama. Like, they're kind of setting the table. This is kind of a rebuild year for Miami, but you do think that people are kind of totally writing them off because Waddle and Tyreek aren't there. I think they could be a little bit better than people are giving them credit for.
Awesome for Chris Johnson. Can't wait to see what he does. 913 texting into the show says being a Padres fan is kind of like being stuck in that movie, The Backrooms. It's frightening. It's lonely. It has a sports death feel with no exit. Can this team find an escape from this? Maybe a little dramatic. I am going to see that movie this weekend. Backrooms.
I've heard that movie is terrifying.
I'm ready for it. My wife and I are going coming up on, I think, Saturday. We're going to go check it out.
I thought she was all into like Disney and stuff. She's not gonna like Backrooms.
No, she likes scary movies too.
Really?
She's a 30-year-old woman, Sammy. She doesn't just have to be into Disney. But next week is her final week of school. So it feels like every school district in San Diego is out except for Lakeside Unified. And so she's looking around at all her teacher friends from San Diego Unified and like, what the hell is going on here?
I don't know. Now all these kids are going to flood the gym, sit on machines all day.
By the way, it's all you parents out there. I'm sorry that you have to take care of your children again. I know it's a rough couple of months.
They made them. They made them. It's their responsibility.
And this is your fault. All right, San Diego Sports 760. If you missed it last night, what a game. Game one of the NBA Finals. I thought it was fantastic, man. I was kind of on my edge of the seat the whole time. Spurs take a 14-point lead. Jalen Brunson and the Knicks fire all the way back, end up winning the game by 10. The storylines today, it's either people going one of two paths. Path A is Jalen Brunson is a dog. Becky Hammond can eat it because look at the way he just played. Or Victor Wembanyama and the Spurs gave up game one and they played terribly. I think the truth is probably somewhere in the middle. Like I said it earlier, I think the Spurs probably played a C+ game. The Knicks probably played an A- game. That's not the best we're going to see out of the Spurs, but the Knicks, I bet you that's pretty consistent for the whole series. So I think as the series goes, it's going to make for a long series, which is what we're all here for.
I'm with you on the Spurs didn't play their best game, but I think the Knicks won that game. Like I did too. I don't think that was a Spurs blew it. They got thoroughly outplayed in that second half. And the Spurs,
they missed a lot of shots, man.
And one thing that was surprising, the Knicks are one of the best teams in the NBA at second chance points. And we all give Wemby so much love, as rightfully so. He's an unbelievable player. We don't need to get into how good Wemby is, but one of the sneaky, I think, underlying parts of the Spurs that they need to work on in the offseason, they don't have a lot of front court depth. Like it's really Wemby and it's about it. Like Luke Cornett's a decent player, but like the Knicks, this whole too big kind of system in the NBA has changed. Like you're seeing that Mitchell Robinson was a key piece because he was able to kind of throw some defensive looks at Wemby. He was cleaning up on the glass. I mean, Karl-Anthony Towns had a game of his life. Josh Hart had 14 rebounds as a guard. He had 3 points in the night, but 14 rebounds is through the roof. And I believe like when all the Villanova guys, Bridges, him and Brunson were on the floor, they were like plus 37 on the night. So like it's just a cohesive unit. And the Spurs looked young in that game. They got up 14 points because the talent is completely there with Castle and Wemby and Harper and all those guys. And then they looked a little shell-shocked when the Knicks just kind of stayed patient and came back in that game. I do expect the Spurs to respond in game two. I think this will be a very long series, but the Knicks are The Knicks are good. And I think they made a statement last night that the last 2 months were not a fluke against lesser competition. They are worthy of being in the NBA Finals.
So what? The Knicks have now won 12 straight games in this postseason. The Knicks seemingly can't be stopped, especially if the game is somewhat close going into the fourth quarter. Because the fourth quarter is when Jalen Brunson really comes to life. That shot he made with 28 seconds left to make it a 2-possession game, the little leaner where he couldn't get up afterwards. He kept slipping on the ground. Yeah. There's not very many people making that shot in the NBA, and it might look like a fluke sometimes when someone hits a shot like that, but Jalen Brunson makes it routine. And he's had to probably go his entire life, all through college ball, all through the pros, of finding creative ways to make shots because he is a little bit smaller and he's not Steph Curry from the 3-point line. So he has to get really creative in the way he makes shots. And man, he's fun to watch. Like, if you're a kid right now in high school looking at someone to look up to for an NBA path, look at the way Jalen Brunson plays and how creative he plays and just never taking no for an answer when he's dribbling the ball around the 3-point line and he works his way in and kind of hits these little leaning shots. Those are practiced. That is an art form for him.
And there's so much, there's prototypes in the NBA. Everyone looks for who's the guy with the elite size, defensively, wingspan. And there's some guys like Jalen Brunson who don't fit that mold. Jalen Brunson, in terms of size, wouldn't fit the mold of one of the best players in the NBA. And yet he is, because he just is tough and has an excellent offensive game and arsenal. 858 says the Spurs blew it. You could tell they were tired in the second half. That kind of goes back to me, though, again, with the lack of depth from the front court. They rely on Wemby being a superhero so much of the time, and you can tell Wemby's usage is up way a lot in these playoffs, and I think that showed down the stretch.
We got Coach Kentera coming up next, and we'll get to that. Also, you have not heard the sounder yet, so keep listening. Jay Silves on YouTube says, I saw Backrooms last night. I thought it was terrible. You're the only one I've heard say that.
Jay Silves said it was terrible. Okay.
It's fantastic.
Isn't it like a college kid made it, right?
I think it's a YouTuber who made it. He made he crowdfunded a bunch of money, showed it at some film festival. Focus, I think, is the studio that bought it, and then put some pub behind it. It's made like $100 million on a $10 million budget. It's crazy.
Well, so the plot of the movie, they wake up in these back rooms.
I know nothing, which is why I'm kind of excited. I've just heard it's actually scary and it's really, really well done. I'm excited about it. Jay Silves, maybe don't tell us any more about it.
And Obsession's out. I mean, there's a lot of like horror movies are making it.
Obsession and Backrooms kicked the crap out of Mandalorian and Grogu week 2. So San Diego Sports 760, Coach Kentera on the other side, live on the iHeartRadio app. I don't know about you, but I've had it up to here with sitting down at a bar and paying $10 for a beer. Not at Valley View Casino and Hotel. It's a Thirsty Thursday. You're getting $5 ice cold draft beers, $6 hand-selected wines, and $7 refreshing cocktails at any of Valley View Casino and Hotels, restaurants, and bars, or while you're playing your favorite slots and table games. That's right. It's a Thirsty Thursday. If you don't have plans for tonight, now you do. Get on out to the Valley View Casino and Hotel. Enjoy the deals on the drinks. And while you're there, don't forget to join the Players Club. Signing up is always quick, easy, and free. And when you join the Players Club, you're getting over $200 in free offers to use instantly at San Diego's favorite casino, like $10 a more play, which is free slot play, $10 a match play, $20 to the Black and Blue Steakhouse, $10 to Patties and Pints. The list goes on and on. Plus, you're going to get a free collectible t-shirt and 2 free Maine lobster buffets when you upgrade from red card to blue card status. The more you use that Players Club card on all your favorite slots or table games, the more rewards you're going to earn, like complimentary dining, free hotel stays, luxury gifts, and more. Don't miss out. Visit Valley View Casino and Hotel today for Thirsty Thursday and join that Ultimate Players Club now. To learn more, visit valleyviewcasino.com. All guests 21 and over are invited to enjoy the casino, hotel, and restaurants.
This report sponsored by Mothers Against Drunk Driving. Padres got swept today by the Philadelphia Phillies. They'll be back at home tomorrow night, taking on the New York Mets for a 3-game slate, as well as next week, the Cincinnati Reds will be in town as well. And per Ian Rappaport, Myles Garrett, who was traded to the Rams earlier this week, the Rams have reworked his 5-year, $204 million deal, so Garrett is making essentially what he made with the Browns. For victims of drunk and drug driving, your grief is unique, but you're not alone. You always have a place at MAD. Call the 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org.
San Diego Sports 760 is your home for live coverage of the 2026 FIFA World Cup. Get daily match updates from the opening match on June 11th to the final on July 1st. Hear live play-by-play of the most anticipated games in every Team USA match. The excitement of the World Cup all in one place. That's right here on San Diego Sports 760. Hey, we got the coach, Coach Kentera, joining us right now here on San Diego Sports 760. Coach, how are you?
Oh, Fletch, doing great. I've been running around a little bit today. I got up and I went out to Rancho Bernardo Inn and filmed a little infomercial for the Randy Jones Foundation, trying to keep that thing rolling. And I know Randy would be very proud of a lot of us that are trying to keep his foundation going. So I did that, came home and saw a little bit of the Padre game. Not a good day once again for the Padres. And then I'm going to watch the College Women's World Series tonight, see if Texas Tech can battle back against Texas. And then I'll probably watch that Dodger Diamondback game tonight. So a good day all the way around.
He's a busy guy, that coach, John Kentera. You can't keep him locked down on anything for too long. Coach, 9 out of 10 is a loss or losses for the Padres. It's been a rough stretch. I don't really even know where to start with this team because it feels like it's the same conversation day after day. The offense just simply needs to be better. What are you seeing out of the Pods over the last 10 games?
Well, what I've seen quite a bit. A lot of these guys are having a hard time hitting the fastball. Machado finally ran into one today against Zach Wheeler. He struck out his first 2 times on 6 fastballs, and then he jumped ahead of him 0-2 and threw him another fastball, and Manny finally caught up to a 96-mile-an-hour fastball. But, I mean, they're feeding Merrill, and he hit one today, too. And that was down in the zone. You got to pitch Merrill above the belt buckle, and he has a hard time, putting the ball in play with any type of authority. Manny's just not catching up with the fastball. I think if you go, and I'm not, the biggest sabermetrics guys known to mankind, but just by the eyeball. And, his bat speed's not what it once was. I mean, over the last 2-3 years, I thought they've started to pitch Manny a little bit differently. And they're throwing him a lot of fastballs. They're not wasting a lot of sliders away like they used to. And, he's just having a hard time catching up to the fastball. And he got one finally today. But, he's just not playing good baseball. And you're going to have to make some adjustments at 33 years of age.
Coach, how do you view them in the wild card picture? Because right now before today, they were atop the wild card in the NL, but there's so many teams congested. They haven't really had a big time series win against good NL opposition. Like, where are you at with this team? Do you think they can beat good teams, or are they just kind of a mediocre ball club themselves?
Well, I think if you look on the internet right now and see how they've done against teams 500 or above, it's not a good record. It's a losing record. March, they started off a little bit slow, those first few games at the end of March, and then they had that great April where they went 18-7, and then this last month in April they went 13-15, and they've yet to win a game so far in the month of May or June, I should say. I don't know. This ball club, it's starting to leak all over the place. I mean, even today, they've been one of the best, if not the best fielding team in baseball, and they made 2 errors today. But this team is not hitting. I mean, when a guy like Freddie Fermin, who's a 252 career hitter, he's over his last 29. He's hitting under 130 right now. You got Machado hitting, in the 170s. Merrill just trying to stay over that 200 mark. Cronenworth, who's out hitting 144. They DFA'd Nick Castellanos. That was kind of odd, I thought, a little bit, because now they brought up guys. One guy had never played in the big leagues, and he's kind of scuffling already. 1 for 6 with 4 strikeouts. But, it's tough in the big leagues. But and Castellanos didn't cost them any money. But they got so many guys. Ramon Laureano, who's on the IL now, hitting right around, 200. I mean, what's going on with this ball club? Bogarts, he was 0 for today, I think, again. And, he's hitting in the 230s. I mean, it's unbelievable how bad this offense is. And, I'm looking at this and going, wow. I'm not just looking at this year. I'm looking at a lot of the guys in this lineup that are going to be back next year, the following year. And, we can talk, Fernando's at least been getting on base. He was 0 for 4 today. But, one home run, he's got one more homer than a dead man right now. That's unbelievable to me.
Maybe more impressive.
I don't know.
He has one more home run than you, me, or Sammy, Coach.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's very disappointing what's going on with this ball club. The pitching has done a great job. They're not great pitchers. I mean, none of those guys are a number 1 or number 2 guys. I mean, but they're pitching their tail off. The bullpen's been okay. The bullpen hadn't been anywhere near as good as it was a year ago. Last year, that was incredible what they did last year. And I know the bullpen, they're still highly ranked in that, but when you watch the games day in and day out, Jason Adams not the same pitcher he was a year ago. Morahone, not the same guy. Estrada, he's usually good for a walk and maybe a run. So I don't know. This team's leaking oil all over the place for me.
So what do you do with it, Coach? That's my question, because I look, and you said it, like you look to next year, the year after that, and hell, let's just go the length of Manny and Xander's contract. According to the laws of physics, the laws of age, they're going to get worse as time goes on, right? And you sign these contracts so you get them in their prime. Well, their prime's not looking very good either. So where do you go this year, assuming it's going to get worse after this, to maybe add some pieces, or is that conversation already gone for you?
I don't know. I was looking at this team last night, and I was just saying, as it goes on now, they've had to bring up a guy that's been in the minor leagues for over a decade to be the backup catcher. And their number 1 catcher, obviously, has had just a miserable season. I didn't think people in San Diego would be clamoring for Luis Camposano, but they are right now because he was swinging the bat. But I look at this team. They bring up Jace Bowen. They DFA Castellanos. They bring up Samad Taylor. After they DFA'd Castellanos, they brought Bowen up after Laureano went on the IL. But I'm just looking at almost like a piecemeal team right now. We had to go out and piecemeal it together. Walker Buehler, credit, he's been pitching better and better. Giolito was okay today and got a couple pitchers up and paid the price. But It's just kind of a team that's been thrown together, trying to stay together. And I don't know. I mean, I just don't see these guys getting it turned around. Now they may hit the guys coming in for the Mets. I don't know. We'll wait and see. But they're having a hard time against quality pitching. And, you know, I watched the game last night against Sanchez. I watched it today against Wheeler. And those guys are two of the best guys in the business. They're not going to give up a whole lot. I know Wheeler had kind of a tough start last time. He gave up 4 homers, actually a career tying 4 homers to the Dodgers up at Dodger Stadium. But, you know, I'm trying to think if this team does get in, are we chasing fool's gold again? And thinking this team actually can win. I mean, this team has not shown us over the last few years. I mean, after they got beaten 2022 by the Phillies, they've gotten to the playoffs, but they haven't shown they can beat top-notch pitching.
Coach, is it going to take them completely falling out of contention for their, like, when does the conversation heat up about not only not buying assets at the deadline, but selling off some major pieces and some of your stars?
Sammy, I don't know who you can sell. I mean, you could sell Fernando, and, you know, I think that's something they're going to have to seriously consider, to be honest with you. You know, he's making 20 this year. I think he makes 25 next year. And then here before too long, he's going to be making $36 million a year. He's not a $36 million ball player, but maybe because he's still 27 years of age, you can move him. I would think they need to. I mean, he's not doing anything that dynamic right now. He's just kind of another outfielder in Major League Baseball that can play second base a little bit. Machado and Bogarts, those contracts are completely unmovable. You're not moving those at all. There's no way you can do that. So, I mean, you're going to trade Jackson Merrill. I mean, I could see them maybe doing that, but who's going to replace him? I don't know. They got a lot of assets, but a lot of their assets are unmovable, and the other assets they have, I don't know if a whole lot of teams are going to want to jump on.
It's going to be
fascinating. They got some real problems here right now. They got some real problems.
The next 7 or 8 years don't look great with all these contracts signed. Coach Kentera, the magic words, right? If the playoffs started today, the Padres would not be in them. That is confirmed as of the last couple hours since the loss. Thank you for your time, Coach. Always appreciate it.
All right, you boys, keep it rolling.
Coach Kentera joining us like he does every week on Thursdays. Always appreciate his time. One of the best in the world. Now the Sounders.
Call now for your chance to win a pair of tickets to see Columbia take on Jordan this Sunday at Snapdragon Stadium. Caller 7 wins at 877-767-4760.
That's the Sounder, believe it or not. So if you want to go see Columbia and Jordan coming up this Sunday at Snapdragon Stadium, you got to call right now. Be caller number 7 at 877-767-4760. And you could be going to the match. Now, if you don't win the tickets right now, you can buy tickets at sandiegofc.com/countdown to 26 to watch these national teams play as they get ready for the 2026 FIFA World Cup, which gets started very, very soon. And we are your exclusive home of here in San Diego Sports 760. We will wrap this thing up, reset long shots, get you ready for tonight in sports, and talk a little hockey on the other side at San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. America is turning 250 years old in San Diego Sports 760. Well, we're celebrating by giving out $250,000 in cash. Listen for your chance to win $2,500 so you can take the ultimate American giveaway and visit the states, cities, landmarks, and national parks that make our country amazing. Win your share of 250 grand. Just listen for the keyword, then enter it at sportssd.com. Your next chance to win 2,500 just after 2:00, which is in 10 minutes, right here on San Diego Sports 760. Hey, don't look now. And I don't know why I've always pulled for this guy, but I always have. You know who's getting a ton of positive publicity in the NFL right now?
Who?
Anthony Richardson. Saying he looks fantastic with the Indianapolis Colts right now. I mean, he's fighting to be the backup.
I don't remember you being an Anthony Richardson guy.
This was probably 2 years ago. I was huge on his bandwagon. I thought he was going to be the next big thing in the NFL. And then it was a disaster. And now Anthony Richardson is fighting for a backup spot with the Indianapolis Colts. But important to remember, Anthony Richardson is younger than Bo Nix, younger than Caleb Williams, younger than Tyler Shucks. He's 24 years old. Maybe, just maybe, someone can unlock something with Anthony Richardson. I would love to see him. I think he has so much potential, man. I think he could be great.
Well, he's going to get a gazillion shots because
hopefully
he only started 13 games at Florida. He was exceptional that 1 year, but he was one of the strongest arms in the NFL. The problem is over the years, if there were reports, people were like, there are high school quarterbacks who can read defenses better than Anthony Richardson.
But you can learn that.
Right. You'd rather have that than just not have the arm strength.
That's why he was such a high draft pick. He has all the physical traits to be a great quarterback. He needs to learn the mental side of things. So if he, I don't know, got embarrassed by how year 2 went for him, by how Daniel Jones started off the year last year with the Colts, maybe Anthony Richardson still has something special left in the tank, and maybe we see him take over a team somewhere.
I wonder what quarterback is going to be the next Baker, Sam Darnold, Geno Smith.
I mean, Kyler has the first chance at it.
Kyler's first chance. Malik Willis has a chance.
Yeah, but Malik Willis was never.
He was drafted to be their franchise guy.
Sure, with Tennessee. But I just don't know that anybody ever gave him this guy's going to be something. Like with Baker, with Cleveland, we thought Baker may be the savior of Cleveland. With Sam Darnold going to New York, it was like Sam Darnold out of USC, great college quarterback. What's he going to do for the New York Jets, turn around the whole franchise? It never worked out. Daniel Jones was decent with the New York Giants, was never great, was decent, got him to the playoffs. Daniel Jones then just kind of disappeared and then popped up with the Indianapolis Colts and was really good last year.
Baker and Darnold were also crushed because in the same draft class, in the same first round, you had Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson.
Right.
So when those guys are winning MVPs in taking their teams to the playoffs every year, they looked worse because it was like, well, they're not that, at least at this point. And now Darnold's won a Super Bowl. Baker's been a very good quarterback down there in Tampa, completely resurrected his career. I do think Kyler's going to have that opportunity. I think Kyler got screwed a little bit with the fact that the Cardinals could never put something around him. I mean, when he had DeAndre Hopkins that 1 year, they were really good. And I know they had a bad end of the season against the Rams, but Kyler could be that guy. Malik Willis was, again, you talk about Anthony Richardson. Malik Willis came out of Liberty and was a very raw prospect, had extremely fast, had a big arm, but you'd have to teach him. Then he got thrown in Tennessee with no weapons. So look, in limited action with Green Bay, he looked decent. Maybe now with Miami, it's not like he has a ton of weapons, but he does have Achane, the backfield with him, and Halfley was his defensive coordinator up there. So with Green Bay, so probably some continuity. But yeah, the fact that these guys have been good and Baker and Darnold have given second chances to a lot of quarterbacks who probably would not be getting second chances if those guys hadn't broken through.
913 texting in saying, Fletch, you guys got any live shows coming up? As a matter of fact, we do. I don't think it's 100% confirmed yet, but I think it's a Thursday, the 18th of June. Leave that on your calendar for something coming up.
We might have something next Friday.
What's next Friday?
June 12th.
Do I know about this yet?
It is, maybe not. It is, we don't want to announce anything yet, but U.S. men's national team.
Sure.
First game. Might have some live shows there.
I like it. So yes, something's coming down. I think 18th is almost there. It's just not done yet. All right. Tonight, hockey, game 2 of the Stanley Cup final. Sammy, you picked Carolina earlier?
I picked Carolina to bet. Yeah, -1.5.
You feeling good about that? Because Vegas has all the momentum in the world behind them.
They do. Vegas 4-0'd Colorado, who won the President's Trophy, won game 1, multi-goal comeback. Carolina is an excellent team, and Montreal caught them game one. I do think Carolina responds in this game. This is a good series, but Vegas, like the Knicks tomorrow night, are playing with house money. If they win game twos on the road, they're set. So this is all about the home teams, Carolina and San Antonio, getting it back.
I'm looking forward to it, man. Stanley Cup hockey is so much fun, and this whole playoff run has been fun for Vegas. I feel like tonight's going to be more of the same. I did follow Sammy on long shots. I don't know if I feel great about that right now.
Why would you not feel great about it?
I didn't feel great about it last night either.
I mean, you wanted to bet on the Spurs. So I don't even understand how I'm getting crushed. I'm giving out NBA underdog money line winners left and right like I'm Oprah, and then you're coming at me for losing a Yankees pick. Come on.
Because it was in the same parlay, Sammy. That's not a crazy thing to say. What the text line
you always
earlier?
Say take what 858 does and individualize the parlay. Do single bets on my
858 does alternate lines. They don't individualize anything. Sammy, if you want to say we need to make one pick, then tell us we need to make one pick. And that could be
I'm
the
proud of what I put
day.
forth yesterday.
I'm proud of you too, pal. What do you got coming up on Going Long with Sammy?
I got my my guy Coleman Clayton, a World Cup insider coming on at 2:30. We're getting a little preview, a little betting preview of how you should be looking at the tournament if you're a soccer diehard or just a casual. We're getting these Padres a little bit, and also get into a little NBA as well as NFL.
And we'll bribe you to listen to Sammy's show. Your opportunity at $2,500 coming up,
and soccer tickets.
How about it?
Colombia and Jordan.
Just got to listen for the sounder. Is that the trick?
Yep.
Right on. Going Long with Sammy coming up next. I'll see you tomorrow.
This report is sponsored by Positive Coaching Alliance. The Padres lost their game to the Phillies today, 6-4. They come home to start a weekend series at Petco Park tomorrow against the Mets. In NFL news, the Packers and wide receiver Christian Watson, we reached a $110 million contract extension. If you have questions about youth or high school sports, Positive Coaching Alliance can help. PCA builds better athletes and better people through sports. Info at positivecoach.org.
Going long with Sammy.
That's going to be hot.
In depth on the story of the day. Plus, it's warm in the hot seat. Now, it's Sammy Long.
Padres can't hit. Jalen Brunson's the hero in New York. And AJ Brown's in heaven. That's what we got going on the show today. Wide variety of stuff we're getting to. Plus, World Cup insider Coleman Clayton, my guy, going to be joining me, getting us 1 week out from the World Cup. Going to get us some betting nuggets, some things to watch out for. Again, whether you are a massive soccer fan, whether you're just kind of tuning in for the World Cup, kind of going to inform me a lot about what we should be looking for, some of the top storylines. So excited to get to talk to Coleman coming up in about 30 minutes. We'll start with the pods. Man, darn it, Trip had it. Darn it, Trip had. So if we go back a few weeks, what is this? 2.5 weeks. Padres beat the Los Angeles Dodgers 1-0 for a half game lead in the NL West. The Padres have gone 3-10 since. Tatis over 4 today. Machado did hit a 2-run shot off Zach Wheeler. Give him credit in that. Kind of took him deep in the count and got after him. Merrill hit a 2-run shot in the 9th inning. But this team is hard to watch right now. We've been talking about it for the last hour or so. Shoot us a call. Just vent. 877-767-4760. Again, 877-767-4760. Is it time to think about selling off at the deadline? That's what I was thinking, because ESPN put out an article today about potential trade deadline targets for every team, and the Padres got named as Tarek Skubal. Now every team, literally the Phillies, the Dodgers, all these teams got named Tarek Skubal, so it's a little bit blown out of proportion. But Skubal's obviously the big prize in this trade deadline. There's always a couple big time pitchers who could change teams, and Skubal is that kind of guy. One of the best pitchers in baseball. The Padres saw him here on opening day and absolutely shoved against him. But I'm hearing about the Padres being linked to him. And does anyone feel like the Padres are a Tarek Skubal away from being in the World Series conversation? I mean, their record against teams above 500 is putrid. It's terrible. The only 2 series wins that I point to and go, that was impressive from the boys, was both series wins over Seattle. They swept them 6-0. Outside of that, I mean, all the teams that they would be facing in the NL, you have the Phillies, 0-6 against them so far. Just got swept over the last 2 weeks. The Dodgers, you're 1-2 against. The Diamondbacks, you're 1-1 against. The Cubs, you're 1-2 against. The Brewers, you're 1-2 against. You don't have series with the Nationals, you're 1-2 against. All the teams that you would be needing to beat to get to the World Series, the Padres have either come up short against or just not showing up at all. And it's frustrating. It's frustrating watching the team because, like, I've watched bad baseball teams that just don't have enough talent. This team makes no sense in that the pitching staff, the bullpen, not the best example today because Moorhome didn't have his best outing, and the bullpen's not as dominant as it was last year. Mason Miller is dominant. The bullpen is not quite as dominant. Jeremiah Estrada hasn't really been the same pitcher since halfway through last year when the Dodgers really lit him up over a 2-week span in those two weekend series last year in August. Moron hasn't been quite the same guy. You know, Bradley Rodriguez has been pretty good overall, but the bullpen is not the problem. The bullpen overall has been good. Metrically, they rank up there towards the top. And the starting rotation, have they been great? No, but I come on here every day and I'm not pinning this on the starting rotation. I mean, Giolito, did he have his best day? No, he was fine. Walker Buehler gave him a chance yesterday. Once again, once again against Christopher Sanchez, Walker Buehler is giving the Padres hitters opportunities to stay in this game at home and on the road. And the Padres bats, which have been anemic, have been nowhere to be found. So Randy Vasquez giving good starts. Has the starting rotation been fantastic? No, but considering the injuries, I think they deserve a lot of props. They are certainly not the reason why the Padres are in the spot. Padres are in the spot is because watching them 1 through 9 is just, it's hard. There is no consistency whatsoever. They refuse to hit starting pitching. And this is why I think the record against teams above 500 is not good, because when you're playing the Rockies, you can mess around through the first 7 innings and in the 8th and 9th, try to just, hit your way out of it because the bullpen's not good. They don't have a good pitching staff. So you're allowed to have more leeway with not getting a starting pitching because the bullpen is probably worse than the starting pitching. When you play elite teams in the NL or the AL, and the NL is loaded with talent this year, way better than the AL. The AL only has a couple of really good teams. You have the Yankees, the Rays, Guardians have heated up a little bit. Maybe the Mariners get back, but the AL is not stacked like it's been in years past. The NL is loaded. And when you don't hit starting pitching, it means that you have to, go up against Johan Duran, one of the best closers in all of baseball, and the Phillies in the 9th. The Dodgers didn't even have Edwin Diaz for their series, but they have an excellent bullpen. Uribe for the Brewers, I give the Padres credit. Gavin Sheets took them on a 3-run home run in that game 2 against Milwaukee, but Uribe is a great closer. So when you face these great closers, it's like, you can't just rely on, every once in a while, like the Dodgers got to Mason Miller on that one night in game 2, but the chances of getting to Mason Miller night in, night out, if Mason Miller gets the ball with a chance to win it, chances are the Padres are winning that game. So every once in a while, maybe Miller gives one up or Duran gives one up or Edwin Diaz or one of these guys, but relying on that night in, night out is just simply not feasible. So that's why I personally think the record against teams above 500 is not good because they can't hit starting pitching and these teams' bullpens are good. And when they play subpar teams, they're able to get to these bullpens because eventually these hitters are able to come through. So text me 70470, start your message with team. Would you buy or sell at the deadline? We had Coach Kentera on about 40 minutes ago. And I asked Coach about when is it time to start thinking about that? When is it time to kind of switch the mindset to where you maybe trade one of the stars? Maybe you're looking at a Tatis, Machado, Merrill, one of these guys. This is what Coach Kentera had to say on possibly trading any of those players.
Sammy, I don't know who you can sell. I mean, you could sell Fernando, and I think that's something they're going to have to seriously consider. To be honest with you, he's making 20 this year. I think he makes 25 next year, and then here before too long, he's going to be making $36 million a year. He's not a $36 million ball player, but maybe because he's still 27 years of age, you can move him. I would think they need to. I mean, he's not doing anything that dynamic right now. He's just kind of another outfielder in Major League Baseball that can play second base a little bit. Machado and Bogarts, those contracts are completely unmovable. You're not moving those at all. There's no way you can do that. So, I mean, trade Jackson Merrill. I mean, I could see them maybe doing that, but who's going to replace him? I don't know. They got a lot of assets, but a lot of their assets are unmovable, and the other assets they have, I don't know if a whole lot of teams are going to want to jump on.
It's going to be fast. So, Coach is right. Now, the Bogarts and Machado contracts, I don't think, to his point, you can really do anything about that. Unless the new owners are like, we want to be done with this. We're going to find some sort of buyout to where you can do that. I mean, I'm not in touch with all the financials, so I'm not going to get into that. But maybe there's a path down the road for that to happen. Part of me goes back and forth because you talk about trading Fernando Tatis. He's certainly not having the year that you would like to trade him. If you were ever going to entertain that, you'd want him to be playing like the NL MVP Fernando Tatis that he was in the conversation for year in and year out. Now, the flip side of that is, do you think Fernando can ever get back to that to improve his trade value? I'll give Fernando credit for this. At least he's getting on base. Not today. He went over 4, but he's at least starting to get on base. Is it pretty? No. it's not a pretty sight in terms of that, because he's not hitting for a ton of power, but you do feel like he's starting to come out of it just a little bit. Machado looks completely lost. I don't know anyone who would take on that contract. Bogarts had a good start to the year. You know, for the expectations that we put on Xander Bogarts due to his recent play the last couple of years, it's been better, I guess. But I don't think anyone's signing up to eat a big part of that deal. And Jackson Merrill is another one who I think if you start shopping Jackson Merrill around, team's first question is going to be, wait, you don't believe in him because he's supposed to be a young superstar. So if the Padres start shopping him, there's gonna be some questions from other teams, like maybe they don't believe he's that good. Hopefully that's looking negatively. Hopefully Jackson Merrill can get back to what he was. He hit a 2-run shot today, so maybe that's the start of something. Fernando again is starting to play a little bit better, but to Coach's point, he's certainly not playing like a $340 million contract player. That's where the expectations change. Is Fernando a terrible player? No, but when you hold him up to other guys that make $340 million, that's a select group of players in Major League Baseball, and he certainly hasn't come through. So, look, hopefully they can get back on track against the Mets. It certainly is a team to do that against. The Mets have not been good, a major disappointment this year, but it's hard to have a lot of faith in this team right now when the NL is so crowded, and a team that you're trying to stave off is the Philadelphia Phillies, who just 6-0'd you, and the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks are getting healthier, and all these teams. And we just had the same conversation. Are these guys going to hit the baseball? And right now it's just, there's not a lot of answers to it. I don't know what the answer is. People have talked about Steven Souza, the hitting coach. I mean, I don't know what the answer is to all this. Shoot us a call, 877-767-4760. Once again, 877-767-4760. We got Marcos on line one. Marcos, what's up, man? You're on the air.
Sorry to ruffle some more feathers, Sammy, but
no, you're good.
Real question. Do you think Toddy has been sandbagging for the last few years because he sees his age and he's still valuable and he's playing as good as he can, but doesn't want to? I don't know, man. It just, after seeing him in the baseball classic and seeing, the energy and the bat, I'm suspect still about it. I have been for like 3 years. What do you think?
Marcos, it's an interesting point. Now, I don't know if he's been like sandbagging to what you're saying. I'm sure Fernando Tatis wants to play well. I'm not in his psyche. So, I'm not gonna say he's not trying or anything like that. But to your point, Marcos, the WBC was interesting. And I remember John and I, when I was, filling in for a little bit there, we had the conversation, like, it's going to look bad with whoever player plays well in the WBC and then hits awful when the regular season starts. And he hit that grand slam. I believe it was against Israel. I can't remember the country he did it against, but the looks like the old Fernando having fun, all that stuff. And you don't really see it right now. And he obviously hasn't been hitting the ball well. Now, on the flip side, when you're winning, if you're winning, I think more people are going to be more excited about coming to work every day. That's not anything new, but you wonder if it's in the best interest of both teams, both parties, and the Padres and Tatis, to at least start to explore it if they fall out of contention. If they continue playing how they're playing right now and they're not in this thing, I think it's a conversation to be had. We'll get to the text line on the other side. We got some text rolling in here about the Padres. Plus, on the other side, the way the Knicks are built versus the San Antonio Spurs, drafting versus trading. We're going to get into that and how a narrative could be changed in the NBA going forward and how you build a dynasty. That's next on Going Long, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app. Our iHeartRadio Music Festival is back, and you can win your way in. You can't buy them. Live performances by Goo Goo Dolls, Kenny Chesney, Lainey Wilson, Snoop Dogg, Weezer, and more. September 18th and 19th at T-Mobile Arena in Vegas. 2 nights, 1 stage. Listen to win tickets before you can buy them, including airfare and hotel accommodations in Vegas. Plus, you get $1,000. Next chance to text in and win happens around 6 p.m. and our exclusive Capital One cardholder pre-sale starts Wednesday, June 10th at 10 a.m. How about that? Plus, on my show, you can win tickets. Be listening for that soccer sounder that will play. You can win tickets to Columbia in Jordan on Sunday. Match, little pre-World Cup, kind of getting ready. So we'll be giving away tickets when you get to hear the qualifier. Call 877-767-4760. If you're calling number 7, you will be going to the game on Sunday. I got a World Cup. My guy Coleman Clayton coming on in 10 minutes, kind of giving us everything we need to know ahead of the tournament, and so some betting nuggets as well. Always got to look for that betting edge, Brent. Always got to look for that little dark horse roam we can get a little sprinkle on. Let's head to the text line. 973 reacting to our Padres conversation. Said overreaction king here. Sell at the deadline. You can get a nice package for Tatis. We need to upgrade the starting rotation and can get young prospects to firm up our future. We are far from competing with the best of the NL with this current roster. 619 also says different number. Fire sale, new ownership, get what you can and start over. This core group is a lost cause from our guys, loyal listeners, SoCal Jayhawk. I think it's all fair. I really do think it's all fair. I mean, it's you wonder if you ran its course with this core group of guys, because the last 7 years, it's really been Manny, Tatis, Bogarts for a portion of that. It's been those core group of guys, and then Merrill's kind of, come later. And there's been tweaks. There's been, changes to rotation, changes to all this, but it really has been the same core group, and it's capped out at an NLCS. And you can celebrate what this group's been able to do. Certainly brought Padre baseball back to relevancy, because I remember 12 years ago, you can get a ticket for $10 sitting down low. They're giving those things away with how bad the team was. So they certainly brought the team back to relevancy, but they've not been able to certainly get over that hurdle, which everyone in San Diego would like to see. All right, NBA Finals last night. What a game. What a game. Jalen Brunson, 30 points. And Brent, I'm curious what you think, but I think it's funny how we overreact. Like the Thunder are going to beat everybody, destroy everybody, not even close. Then Wemby beats them. Wemby's going to, make the GOAT conversation mute. Then Wemby has 26 points last night, but has a bad night from the field and turned the ball over a lot. And all of a sudden now everyone's down on Wemby. Like, I think we can give credit to the Knicks and not just be like, Wemby's done, which is some of the narrative that we've heard today.
Well, it's like Janet Jackson said, it's what have you done for me lately? Yes. So, that's what anyone cares about is what, recently happened. And they're overreacting. It's only game 1. I can't remember which one of them said it. Either it was Chuck or Shaq that were just like, it's game 1. Game 1's essentially a throwaway game anyways, even though I kind of disagree to a small extent, because they've lost home court, but they can get back easy enough. But
it's a feeling out game to what you're saying. 100%. I'm curious with this series, the underlying part of it. So the Spurs have drafted and developed their starting 5: Wemby, Castle, Harper, not Fox. Fox has certainly been acquired from Sacramento, but the Knicks drafted all their, they did not draft all their guys. They traded and acquired for all their guys. Jalen Brunson was acquired from the Mavs. Mikal Bridges, they sent four picks for. You're talking about Karl Anthony Towns was from Minnesota. They acquired OG Anunoby. And I think that we've looked at, with the Oklahoma City Thunder, what they did with drafting, getting a ton of draft picks, being able to build from the ground up. It's respectable. But do we go too far that way? Like the Knicks, it's impressive. It's James Dolan, who's not a guy who gets a lot of credit for the New York Knicks as owner and president of basketball ops, but it is impressive that he has been able to spot guys who teams have thrown away to build this lineup together. Like Jalen Brunson was a guy that if you're the Dallas Mavericks right now, I'm sorry. You let Luka and Jalen Brunson walk out the door when they took you to a Western Conference Finals, and then Luka took you to a championship, to a finals. And like when we're sitting there, I mean, Jalen Brunson has been told he's 6'2", he's less. He can't be the best player on a championship winning team because of his body size. He can't play amazing defense, and yet he's here, and he just went into San Antonio, won game 1. Luka Doncic, yes, there's concerns defensively. He is not some elite defender. You have to build the roster out a certain way with a very good front court, 3-and-D wing defenders. But Luka has had success. Luka's had success in this league. That year they went to the finals. They had no business on paper being in the NBA finals, and yet they got there and took out Oklahoma City. So the Knicks are kind of like, I wonder if we're going to start. For years, it was sign a big three, acquire a big three, and put as many stars as possible. The Knicks have acquired all their players, but they kind of did it through role players. They did it through Jalen Brunson's going to be the star and Cat, and then it was Bridges and Anunoby and a lot of these guys, Josh Hart, who the Lakers gave up on. A lot of players who their first teams were like, yeah, we don't think we can build around. They put together an extremely cohesive group, and I think that kind of showed late in that game last night.
Well, you're talking about Dolan collecting like all these players that nobody else wanted. I'd extend that to the coach too, with Mike Brown, because everyone thought he was crazy when they got rid of Thibodeau, and then all of a sudden they're just like, "What? You're going to get rid of Tibbs to bring in him?" So yeah, I'd include Mike Brown in that. Mike Brown's a great point. I mean, Mike Brown has certainly been passed around coaching tree from a lot of different guys, and the Knicks deserve a lot of credit. This is going to be a really good series, and Karl-Anthony Towns, it's impressive what he was able to do. Wemby only shot 2 of 11 when he was the primary defender. We open it up to the phones quickly before we get to our guest. Dave wants to talk a little bit about the Padres. Dave, what's up, man? You're on the air.
Hey, Sam, thanks again. And, I'm joining the chorus with so many others that have, I think accepting the fact that the current core of, I call them the big 4, big 3, whatever you want to call them, this is the future. It's here. This is what we were worried about when these contracts were handed out like Christmas candy. So the Padres have been kind of, on borrowed time because of the good-hearted nature of Peter Seidler, but we're at the point now of, at some point, damage is going to be done at the gate because people are not going to continue to pay these high exorbitant prices when it finally becomes accepted that this franchise is in deep, deep trouble with this current group of roster that they can't do much with. So this new ownership, they've got some real problems on their hands because they cannot sustain this unless some kind of miracle happens and these guys all of a sudden find themselves again, which would defy what I think we all agree on is a continuing trend now that has been here for at least 3 or 4 years.
Dave, I appreciate the call, man. It's an interesting point on the and we'll get to break it in a second, Brian. It's an interesting point on the ticket prices. Like, I do think people are getting frustrated with the fact that, I mean, I went to 3 games a couple weeks ago. It ain't cheap. I'll tell you that right now. You get a couple beers at a game, you're paying ballpark prices. And I think you're seeing a thing where people are getting a little frustrated with the fact that, the prices aren't exactly matching the winning on the scale. And we'll see if people, you hit them where their wallet hurts. And certainly if they stop selling tickets, they're going to be trying to put a winner on the field. Dave, thank you for calling in, man. All right. On the other side, World Cup insider Coleman Clayton breaking down everything about the World Cup. That's coming up next on Going Long, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app.
This report is sponsored by Taco Bell. Padres lost today in Philly 6-4. They come home tomorrow to start a weekend series against the Mets. In NFL news, Green Bay and wide receiver Christian Watson agreed to a $110 million extension. Taco Bell's new jalapeno citrus salsa, bright, spicy, zesty, impossible to ignore. It brings main character energy to every bite, not just a sauce, it's a star. Only at participating U.S. Taco Bell locations for a limited time only while supplies last.
Ain't nothing wrong with a little heat getting warm around here. Light the fires, Big Daddy. Who's next in the hot seat?
My guy, Coleman Clayton, World Cup Insider, will be joining us just in about a minute or so. Make sure to be listening for those soccer tickets. So Colombia, Jordan, coming up on Sunday, live from Snapdragon as a little bit of a qualifier. In U.S. be in action on Saturday, but Colombia and Jordan tickets, you will be able to win when you hear the sounder. Call 877-767-4760. Once again, 877-767-4760. And if you're caller number 7, you will be winning tickets to the match. Yeah, the World Cup 1 week away. Going to be carrying a lot of these games, all the U.S. games, and I'm very excited to welcome in my next guest, Coleman Clayton, my World Cup insider. Coleman, what's up, dude? How you doing?
What is going on, Sammy? Thank you so much for having me on your show, man.
Of course, it was good to hear your voice, man. So I'm curious. So for those who are kind of just new into the World Cup, trying to kind of learn it, maybe they're not diehard soccer fans. What is the expansion from? Typically in the World Cup, there's been 32 teams that are allowed in. Now it's been expanded to 48. Do you think that, means that there's going to be a higher chance of a Cinderella run or just more kind of beat downs in the first round?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a really good question. I think one of the really, most wonderful things about the World Cup is every single tournament has always had a Cinderella story. If you look back, 4 years ago at 2022, I think our obvious Cinderella story was Morocco, a team that made it all the way to the semis and unfortunately lost. But I mean, hey, no one thought they would make it that far. And then, you obviously think of Colombia in 2014, Croatia making the final in 2018, and Russia. So, I think with more teams, and obviously you are getting some teams in here like, the Curaçaos of the world, Iraq, Jordan, like there's just some countries that, I can imagine are just there to be there. But, a Cinderella story will happen. In terms of who I think it's going to be, that's a little bit harder to tell. There's a lot of teams on paper here that I think can make some noise. Ecuador is a team I look at here. Teams like Ivory Coast, Norway with Erling Haaland playing this first World Cup. So just a couple teams to be aware of there. But, I mean, yeah, there's going to be a Cinderella story regardless. And if there isn't, there'll be surprises no matter what.
You mentioned Erling Haaland making his, star for Man City, thought of as one of the best soccer players in the world, making his World Cup debut. Obviously, Messi won the last World Cup with Argentina. We got Ronaldo looking for one. Neymar, Mbappe was close. Which of those stars, kind of outside of Messi, do you think faced the most pressure like this World Cup, this time around?
I think it has to be Cristiano Ronaldo. I mean, if we look at, the biggest stars in this World Cup, obviously, like you mentioned, it is Messi, it is Ronaldo, it is Mbappe, it is Lamine Yamal from the Euros, but without a doubt, it's CR7. I mean, being in his position after seeing your counterpart, the person that's, involved in every single debate going against you, win the World Cup and hoist that trophy, taking what everyone thought was just a massive advantage in that debate to who's the real GOAT of soccer. It has to be him. If you look at the Portugal team on paper, this is one heck of a squad. Easily the best midfield that we'll see on paper at this World Cup with the likes of John Neves and Bruno Fernandes and Vitinha, especially those two, Vitinha and Neves coming off a Champions League win and, bolstered by amazing fullbacks. The team on paper, whether Ronaldo starts or whether he doesn't, which is even just crazy to say, even at his age, it has to be him. I mean, Portugal, to be honest, and maybe I'll talk about it more later on the podcast. is a team that, I'll predict to go, very far, even potentially win the whole thing. I think if you're Ronaldo, you have to be thinking, hey, this is my swan song. The team on paper is amazing. I'm going to have to, come up big or, hope that my team comes up big.
Coleman Clayton, World Cup insider, joining me right now. You mentioned Portugal. I've heard a lot of people kind of that's been the kind of sexy underdog pick if you're not going with the Spains or the Frances or team like that. What's up with that? I know you mentioned Cristiano Ronaldo possibly coming off the bench. Is that just due to his age at 41 or some dissension there? What's kind of behind that?
So if you look more in depth at the style of football Portugal play, when Ronaldo's on the field, it tends to be kind of a little bit more of a throw the ball in the box and, pray CR7 gets ahead on it, which, I mean, hey, is a good strategy. It has worked for years. Last World Cup, I can say, I think we can all say it didn't work necessarily. We all kind of remember the phantom header that, was a goal. It wasn't a goal by CR7. And, I think a lot of people had, much higher expectations then. When CR7's not starting, it's the likes of someone like, João Felix or, one of their other strikers. I mean, there's so much depth in that team. It's a little bit more of a fluid game they play. And, players that I really look at, out, in terms of like supporting roles if CR7 is not playing or, players are going to really stand out in the attack for Portugal are, players like Bruno Fernandes, who is coming off breaking the assist record in the, in the Premier League. Players like, Colin Shaw, I believe I'm pronouncing that correctly, that played Juventus, more of a younger player, really bright winger. When CR7 is not on the pitch, the style of footy kind of changes completely for Portugal. Now, personally, do I want to see CR7 start, in the US of A and in North America for this World Cup? Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that would be pretty amazing, but, just some things to think of there.
Yeah, it's cool. All the big names, Cristiano Ronaldo, obviously still getting it done at more of an advanced age. Flipping to the U.S. So, what do you think are realistic expectations? I've heard some people be like, in the last World Cup, they got out of the group and lost in the first round to the Netherlands. What do you think would define a successful run for Team USA?
Sammy, there's 3 words I have for you. It's round of 16. That's
okay.
It. That is the expectation for the U.S. You are on home soil. You are probably playing in, honestly, the weakest group amongst the 12 that are going to the World Cup this year. And all your players that have been talked about for the past 4 years, the past 8 years, like Christian Pulisic, Weston McKennie, Tyler Adams, all these players are in their prime, Sammy. This is the year that they have to do it. Minimum baseline is heading out in the round of 16. And especially with this many teams and the opportunity to really, play amazing soccer and beat a lot of these teams in their group, I don't see why they won't make it out. And if they don't, I will tell you right now, it will be a massive disappointment. And that is the only thing that kind of freaks me out a little bit is the amount of pressure that's weighing on the U.S. men's national team to perform this World Cup. You have, as well, one of the more acclaimed managers in all of soccer at your helm and Mauricio Pochettino. You're coming off a really convincing win against Senegal with which I think was needed just in terms of the recent production from that team, just in friendlies and then, games beforehand. But it has to be, getting past the round of 16 or just making it to the round of 16. Last World Cup was a, really convincing defeat against Netherlands. And, obviously, in World Cup before that, there was no soccer for the U.S. national team. But I think, it is a realistic expectation. And I think it's something that they can definitely achieve. I'm just worried about the pressure that they'll face, and they need to be perfect. They cannot make any mistakes.
Those are great points. I'm curious. The World Cup favorite Spain, they actually have 8 players from soccer powerhouse FC Barcelona. Some people have kind of critiqued that. Some people are for it. And Yamal got injured and is supposed to be good for the World Cup, but. Should they still be the favorite? Do you see as France maybe passing them because of the Yamal injury? Where are you at with that?
We just actually got word, I believe it was a day ago from De La Fuente, that Yamal will be healthy. He will be in the starting match for Spain come the beginning of the World Cup. And that's great news if you're a Spain fan. I mean, if you're going into a game and you're Spain, you need to see Yamal on that wing. The way he changes that team and just the complete style of soccer they play and the attacking prowess that they have is just really polarizing. And Spain hasn't seen a player come through the ranks that really gives them that layer, and seeing the way that they attack in a very long time. So we're really happy about that. In terms of the Barcelona players being called up, that's kind of always been a constant theme for Spain. If you look at just Barcelona as a whole, the type of soccer that they just notoriously played for years is tiki-taka style football. And that's exactly what Spain wants to do. Spain wants to hold the ball. They want to grab possession. They want to do a bunch of passes. They want to tire you out on the pitch in the hopes to eventually score. La Masia, which is Barcelona's youth team, that's essentially their academy where, they grow players to eventually play for the starting team, like the adult team.
Yeah.
Is probably the best in the world. And the best Spanish talent currently plays in that team. So realistically, if you look at it on paper, if you're going to bring Lamine Yamal to the World Cup and he's playing for Barcelona, why not bring the best up-and-coming Spanish players that have already established that chemistry with Yamal to bolster your chances at absolutely shredding that group and hopefully making it to the final?
All right, Coleman, I won't put you on the spot, but I need a World Cup prediction. Who are you rocking with?
You want a final prediction?
I want a final prediction if you have one.
Guys, I got the script. All right. This is live. This is exclusive. We're on air right now. I got the script. I know exactly what's going to go down. Look, Messi won the World Cup last year. It was probably the best World Cup final, at least I have ever seen. I mean, I've only been watching soccer since 2014. I've only seen so many World Cup finals, but that was incredible. And seeing Messi hoist that trophy was amazing. Guys, if we can follow up 4 years ago of Messi winning the World Cup with CR7 in Portugal winning it this year, it would be incredible. I mean, we would have never seen anything like it in sports. And talk about the debates we would have going forward if they were to hoist it. Like I said earlier in the podcast, Portugal's team is stacked. They, like I said, have the best midfield on paper, and the best ability to either feed CR7 or not even play CR7. Even if he comes off the bench, that team is so scary. They are so well-rounded. They do play in a group. If we look at it now, I'm just going to pull it up. They play in a group of. Where are you?
I know they're like the fifth or sixth best favorites to win the whole thing. The text line loves it. Jay Silves on YouTube said you heard the man, Sammy, Portugal to win it all.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, you look at this. It's Democratic Republic of Congo, Uzbekistan, and Colombia. Colombia is the scariest team in that group for sure, but Portugal, without a doubt, I can totally see making the final. And if I had to predict anything, CR7 will hoist that Copa Mundial.
Coleman Clayton, go give him a follow on Instagram. Coleman C_. Coleman, we're running out of time. Otherwise, we will get into your Knicks next time. 1-0. Shout out to Jalen Brunson. I know you were going crazy last time.
New York. Let me know, man. Thank you so much for having me on the podcast. All right, take care.
Coleman, you're the best, brother. We will talk soon. Coleman Clayton, go shoot him a follow on Instagram. Coming up next, got Alan Slewa, a little crossover action. Coming up next on Going Long, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app. The Big Slee was here. What's up, dude? How you doing?
What is going on, brother? What is going on?
Not the Padres. Padres are not going on right now. We've gotten into that a lot. We took some callers. People very frustrated with this team.
What they give me? By the way, I'll try to do as much of that as possible. Starting at 3, as many calls as you guys want to take. But if I'm being honest, I'd be very, very disappointed if there aren't some ticked off Padre fans that just want to vent today. And if you want to vent, I'm by myself. Schaefer's gone. So this is your opportunity to vent as much as you'd like. What'd they say today?
Well, we started having the conversation. Dave called in, Marcos, a couple of different people. It's like, I mean, when is it time to start having the conversation that, like, the article came out today with ESPN about Tarek Skubal and how the Padres are interested in him, the Dodgers, the Phillies, basically every team that thinks they have a shot at a World Series interested in Skubal. And it's like, when is it time to start having the conversation that not only is this not a team that's buyers, this is a team that needs to look at with new ownership, selling off some big pieces, and mainly Fernando Tatis. We talked, Coach Kentera was on Flesh and I show earlier and kind of mentioned that he'd be the only guy that has value because no one's going to take that Machado and Bogart's contract. But I mean, when do we start having that conversation seriously?
I don't think now. So if the question is that direct, I don't think it's now. But I think you could mention, like, hey, let's just say this thing is more of the same in the next 45 days. Maybe it's a different conversation. I don't think I'm trading Fernando Tatis Jr. I'm not trading a 27-year-old at his probably lowest value. I'd rather just hold on to him.
Well, that was my point.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I wouldn't be opposed to trading him, but if you're going to trade him now, when, to your point, he has the lowest value he's going to have because he has not had a good year. Everyone that once you start shopping him around are going to go, well, if you guys are giving up on him, what's the kind of red lights going off there? But then there's also the other part of it is if you don't think Fernando can ever get back to his potential MVP season, like playing at that level, then maybe it is time to just cut your losses.
Yeah, I think the question right now, I mean, honestly, no, I don't think the Padres should trade Fernando Tatis. No, I don't think they should start selling off every asset. I'd rather them spend the next 45 days trying to figure out how to just stay in contention. Because, obviously the way they're playing right now, you go within probably about a week and a half span, they go from 11 games over 500. I don't know. Maybe it's longer than that. 2 weeks. I don't know. It probably is because they've lost 9 of 10. So they've clearly, it's 8 games over that span.
When the Padres beat the Dodgers in that night one, they took a half game lead. Since then, they're 3-10.
I think that the question now is, how do you just survive? Mm-hmm. And we'll find out in 45 days.
Yeah.
And in 45 days, in a month and a half, because the trade deadline is not until, I thought it was July 31st or July 30th, but then I heard Schaefer say something like August 2nd, August 3rd, whatever date it is. Obviously, it's right around that window. Then I think you're going to have a better understanding of what the franchise should do with, their current situation. But the Tarek Skubal thing is interesting for many reasons. Brett and I will get in this today because I think we do disagree on this. I know he was saying, like, hey, why would you go after a player like this? Go look at Walker Buehler or maybe a Vasquez or a Michael King. They can have a game where they pitch really well. They give up 2 runs, or in Buehler's case against Philly, he gave up 1 run. And they could still lose the game. So I think his point is, like, you're losing assets. Even if you get another starting pitcher, you don't have enough runs behind it. But I think there's some scenarios where it makes sense, and obviously scenarios that it doesn't.
I hear both sides. I'm with Brent. I think that if you're getting Skubal, he's unbelievable, one of the best pitchers in baseball. But is it putting lipstick on a pig? Because it's at some point it's like he doesn't hit. And I wouldn't say that the bullpen or the starting rotation, not that the starting rotation has been tremendous, but given the Musgrove and Pivetta injuries, I give them high marks for staying above water. Just selling off assets for Skubal when Skubal's 100% going to leave in the offseason to another team, the smartest thing, because I don't see that they're one piece away.
Yeah, listen, I'm not telling you that it's this. If the scenario, if it looks the way it does today, then I think you already kind of have your answer. Like the thing, and this is one of the best quotes I've ever heard from AJ Preller. Preller has said, I don't make decisions by the deadline. They make the decisions for me. As in how the players look will determine how aggressive he's going to be or how much he kind of takes a step back. But right. I'll play a scenario for you. Let's just pretend. let's say the Padres just went through a really bad 2-week stretch. And let's say for the first 2+ months of the season that their star players really struggled. Let me just play out a scenario.
Right.
Let's say over the next 45 games, they're kind of back to what they were, 6-8 games over 500 on top of the 3 that they're on now. So let's say they're like 10 games over 500. You feel like they're in the mix. Maybe they're not there with the Dodgers or the Braves or Milwaukee, but you feel like, hey, these guys actually have a shot. Let's say the bats kind of start going. I'm asking a lot of ifs.
Right.
But I do think there's a scenario where if they're in the mix, I get it. Like I get the I don't know how many I don't know how many shots they're going to have.
That's true. The flip side to that though is there's a difference between being in the mix to make the postseason and then being in the mix. Being in the mix to win a World Series. And over the past 6 years, I think everyone's graduated from, hey, it's cool the Padres are in the postseason to we want to win a World Series. And from what they've shown at least 2.5 months into the season, to me,
no, they're not. They're nowhere near it.
They're not nowhere near that.
They're nowhere near it.
So at what point do you not keep running the same core back and realize we have to restart this thing versus trading off more assets to try to make another run at it when these bats have shown you over the last couple months and years they're not World Series caliber?
Yeah, I don't think that's completely fair because I think they had real runs, right? Like they did. Now
one.
Well, I would say in 2022 they had a run. If you're a couple games away from getting to the World Series and you know a Suarez, Bryce Harper at bat from bringing it back to San Diego.
I think that one was the run, but like, where's the other run?
2024 was a run.
I mean, 24 scoreless innings at home.
But 2024 was a run. As in, you're 2-2 against the Los Angeles Dodgers who end up winning a World Series. I'm not telling you they didn't choke for 2 games, but what I'm telling you is you're 2-0 in Game 5 at Dodger Stadium against the team that ended up winning a World Series. Let's not pretend like the Padres weren't dangerous.
I know we got to get out, but I'm not saying they weren't dangerous, but I wouldn't call that a run. Making it to the NLDS, being the World Series favorite after Game 3 when the Vegas odds is not a run to me.
Here's the thing. You asked, are you in contention? The Padres were in contention in 2024.
But was that the best team that was ever going to be with this group?
It probably, let's put it this way. I think it's a lot stronger chance that was their best shot than moving forward. But I'm just going back to the question that you asked is like, because I think I'm not going against the point that you're making. I think the point I'm trying to make is they've had some runs. They've had teams where the expectations was like, I don't know. I would probably say 2024. I would say probably 2024. They had a better shot of getting to a World Series if they got through the Dodgers than they did.
I agree
in
with
2022.
That. I 100% agree with that. My thinking is that have it run its course. Was the peak of this Bogarts, Tatis, Machado, Merrill, did that peak in 2022? And then 2024, when they had a shot at home to close out the Dodgers, you got to get on the other side because I know it's coming up. Brett, who won tickets to a soccer match? Okay, we'll figure it out tomorrow. Someone won tickets. All right,
I don't remember.
Okay,
someone's going to a great game this weekend.
Someone's going to a great game
this weekend.
Whoever you are, I appreciate you listening to the show. Coleman Clayton, I appreciate you hopping on. Tomorrow we'll have Matt Devine, who missed yesterday.
Kenneth and John
are going to the match on Sunday. Slee was coming up next. Make sure to stay tuned. I'll be back tomorrow.